Hello, my dear friends and family. Operator Starsky joins the chat, bringing you coffee, recent news, reviews, and mustache. Okay, I have to explain this one. Once a year, around November, I'm growing mustache because this makes me feel 1000 years older, alright? And look basically like Magnum PI. Having a midlife crisis, who only returned from Chernobyl. That's basically the only reason. So, very welcome to my stream. Hello, Ali, hello, Ben, and Beep, and Justnila, and Sophie. Everyone else, Miriam, very nice to see you. Andreas, hello, my friends. Also, Godfingers and Croupier. The gang is here. Guten Morgen, everyone. We have some updates coming from Ukraine and beyond. Let's jump straight into it. So first of all, we have a strike. It wasn't me. Guten Morgen. Peli Rami, hello. And Croatian, hello. As well as Patskule. Guten Morgen to the beautiful Finland. Rick, Sanchez, and Hawk, and Pietro. Guten Morgen. Zurimor, Sarah, Adam, and Miroslav. Guten Morgen. All right, everyone's there. So Ukrainian drones hit Bashkortostan one more time, all right? And just to understand where Bashkortostan is, okay, because we're talking about it all the time, and Ukraine is striking Bashkortostan every week. So this is Ukraine, right? And that place we're talking about is all the way here, all right? In the area of Ufa. Here we have Sterlitamak, and in this area we have this huge Russian facility that processes oil, that produces fuel for Russian tanks, fuel for Russian aircraft, and all that stuff. All right. So due to Ukrainian strikes, and Ukrainian strikes keep happening because this factory is very, very big. It's huge. It's actually joining several other facilities. The very site for producing all that Russian fuel is very, very big. So Ukraine keeps striking it over and over again, basically decimating Russian capacity, all right? And it is reported that as a result of this strike, the facility that was producing elements for the Russian aviation fuel was destroyed, and the fire started there. The activists of Molfar Intelligence Institute gathered a dossier on 56 Russians that will be participating in the Winter Olympic Games in Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo. Why did they do that? Well, because basically those people support Putin. And one thing we should remember about the sportsmen, all right, specifically about Russian sportsmen. So in majority of cases, Russian sportsmen have military ranks, all right, because Russian sportsmen, they start as, for example, some sports instructors somewhere in the Russian military bases, and then they get the state funding and basically start representing terrorist federation on different sport exercises. So if you consider that sports is beyond politics, politics don't matter, and everything else. So first of all, terrorism is not politics, all right? Terrorism is a crime. And second of all, the Russian sportsmen, in vast majority of cases, they are directly funded by the Russian Ministry of Defense and War and Stolen Toilets, and they have literally military ranks. All right, so just so you could wait, let me see if it's available in English. Unfortunately, it's not, but again, guys, if you have a translation, all right, if you can translate web pages, which is available today. I will just drop it for you in the chat. You might want to check it out. All right. So what else do we have? We have some updates coming from Hungary as well. That's very important. Yesterday, as you probably know, there was a meeting between the Hungarian Prime Minister Orban and Donald Trump, where basically Trump gave Orban a 1-year delay. All right, so during this year, Hungary might continue receiving Russian oil, and that's basically how it works. I mean, yes, the sanctions are there. The sanctions will become active literally in 2 weeks from now, all right, on 21st of November, and the countries that Donald Trump doesn't like, they will not be able to trade, all right, Russian oil and everything else, which is a good thing. But the countries Donald Trump likes, and for some reasons that I cannot explain, all right, the countries that support Russian terrorism, they are given delay in buying the Russian fuel. How crazy is that? So could you do that? I mean, there's a lot of companies, there's a lot of countries that are united, all right, with the terrorist world. We're talking the BRICS, for example. The countries that cooperate with the Russian terrorists, and they keep receiving Russian oil, right? And they have like this huge discount because Russia needs to just push the remains of its exports somewhere. And basically, this is how it works. You go meet Trump and he will give you a delay and then maybe another delay. So that's the whole point of that, all right? On the other hand, European Union decided to increase the limits and different rules and decrease the numbers of multiple visas given to the Russian citizens because of security risks, all right? So the European Committee took this decision and called this a necessary step to protect European Union and its citizens. If you look at, for example, AfD, they will be protesting this stuff. And AfD is the far-right extremist organization in Germany called Alternative for Deutschland. They will be opposing that. They will be saying, wait a second, no, Ukrainians are the biggest threat for Europe. Russians are kittens. More Russians in Europe we want, right? For some reason, of course, they also retransmit the same bullshit that Tim Pool was saying. All right, Tim Pool, who, as we know, received almost $100,000 for his pro-Russian content from Russia Today directly. So we will see more pro-Russian propagandists speaking out against this one, all right? I believe in the future we will see more of that stuff. They will try to shift the narrative, they will try to ramp up the disinformation against Ukraine, and of course they will try to justify Russian terrorists, Russian war criminals as much as possible. April 2026 Hungarian elections, only me says. We have it wasn't me in the chat, right? And we have only me in the chat. That's so cool. Guys, are you related? I need to know. Russian visas, yes, Chad. So European Union had this agreement with the terrorist federation, so the Russian citizens would receive multi visas, all right? Jane Kiev, guten Morgen. Hello, how are you doing? So Russians would receive visas to go to, for example, Italy, like vomit somewhere, on the historical sites, or go to, France, get fucking drunk and bully people and do all things that Russians generally do, right? European Union decided to limit Russians in receiving visas, so we will see less Russian tourists coming and shitting in your beautiful countries, all right? And I think that it's a very, very good decision, okay? Because that's exactly what we need to do. We need to cancel Russian terrorism anywhere, or right, around this planet. It should be absolutely cancelled and banned. And it's a proper thing, all right? If we want to protect ourselves, that's absolutely proper thing. Every country has traitors. We're not proud of these idiots. Genau, my friend. I know. Don't worry about that. We have some of those too in Ukraine, namely the opposition platform for life, the facts that were literally ordering the police to shoot protesters back in the times of the Revolution of Dignity. So we have those as well. And by the way, not all of them are behind the bars, all right? That's just for example, those brainwashed outside Ukraine who think that Ukraine has dictatorship and everything else. A lot of them are still walking free, all right? And this is something that makes me, for example, absolutely mad until this day. The worst is Polish citizens shitting on Ukrainian refugees. So the main reason they're doing that, Ali, is the Russian disinformation. Because, for example, recently Russia designed this. I will even show it to you. Russia designed this very interesting case. Wait a second. Showing a so-called Ukrainian refugee who received a help in the Polish hospital, right? And it's actually a very old fake, because if you take a closer look at this photo, you can see this interesting tattoo on his shoulder, right? And this individual, all right, in the social media says Ukrainian POW gets medical treatment. And they just post this photo without saying anything. So not an origin of this photo is known, all right? We don't know where it comes from. We don't have any, I don't know, information about its roots. The Russians immediately reposted this news and say the Polish people actively discuss the picture of Ukrainian Nazi who receives medical treatment in one of the medical facilities in Rzeszów. And the Polish people go like, how the hell can you allow this to happen, to treat Ukrainian Nazi with Nazi tattoos in Polish hospitals? That's a fake. Because we don't know anything about this photo, where it was taken. There is no Rzeszów plaque anywhere on this picture. We don't even know if this person is Ukrainian or Hungarian or Russian, all right? And another thing, the very fact that they're saying Ukrainian POW gets medical treatments, Ukrainian POWs in Poland, what Ukrainian POWs do in Poland. The only place you can find Ukrainian POWs is on the Russian territory, in the Russian prisons, all right? Hoping that they will see a Red Cross representative at least once in a while, all right? So Russians do a lot of those fakes. Ellie, in case Russia decreases financing for their bullshit machine, all those fakes will disappear. And the best way to stop this, all right, to stop this from happening is keeping striking Russian oil refineries, keeping striking Russian different facilities that produce things for exports, because they will have less money for that, all right? They will have less money to invest into their bullshit machine. That's the only reason, guys. The very fact that the Poles the European polls are showing this growing dissatisfaction with Ukraine war, Ukraine refugees, and everything else. The only reason it's happening is because Russians are bullshitting people so much, all right, through the social media, through legit media outlets, all right. We know that Russians like to copy paste legit media outlets and spreading bullshit through it, using their paid propagandists on the Polish territory as well. So yeah, as Surimor in the chat says, no money, no war. Absolutely, absolutely. And if Russia starts losing money for that shit, they will produce less fakes and less bullshit. And also, we need to help deliver information to the people around the world ourselves, right? And the best thing and the easiest thing we can do, all right, the best way to do that, to make it happen, is literally share content from Silicon Curtain, from Anna from Ukraine, from Ukraine Matters, from Artur Rehi, from all the people who debunk the Russian disinformation and actually explain how exactly Russian disinformation works. That's the easiest thing we can do, and that's the most effective thing we can do, all right? If we cannot spend billions of dollars on the debunking, countering Russian disinformation, as you know, Russians do, they spend like $2 billion a year, $4 billion a year, literally on all that shit. If we cannot do that, if we cannot have symmetrical finances, all right, to fight that, the most effective way is to literally share the content coming from other YouTubers who actually fight Russian disinformation. It will work, my friends. You will be impressed, because if you share content and 10 other people see that, it means that your efforts are increasing tenfold, all right, and some of those may share it. Russians do that all the time through paid propagandists, all right, and if the money stop flowing, they will stop doing that, because that's their biggest motivation, and our biggest motivation is the desire to live, all right, the desire not to have war tomorrow. That is one of the reasons why all that Russian disinformation only works on people who don't have idea. So returning to this one, there's a lot of cases like that. Guys, Poland at this point is the most targeted country in frames of the Russian disinformation. It's the most targeted country of the European Union as of today. There's so many shit shared like this, and Polish people who don't check facts, because generally nobody check facts, they watch it, they discuss this, and even though all this stuff is fake, and even if you explain to them that it's fake, even if they understand it, still they will not be as sympathetic, right, to Ukrainians as they were before, because this is generally how the Russian disinformation works. Russia never produces a content that will motivate you, my friends. Never. They never produce the content that makes you feel better. Danga, the article says that the Ukrainian POW, all right, who somehow got to Rzeszów in Poland with a Nazi tattoo on his shoulder, was treated in the Rzeszów hospital, which is a bullshit and fake, all right, because nobody knows where that photo was taken. Maybe it was taken in Moscow or in Saratov, all right. It's just like a fact. Seriously. It's as if, I don't know, look, I will just show you on a very, very easy example, right? So, for example, where is it? Open image, all right. So, for example, here you can see my wife, right? And basically, this is like my new furniture that I bought the other day in IKEA. Actually, it wasn't very expensive. Like this table here costs like 50 euro. This closet, all right, with books, it costs like 25. I found a good discount, right? And also my wife Zhenya, all right, she went to Zara and she bought some pretty cool like home, clothes, all right, a house dress, all right. That's just 15 euro in Zara, all right. Guys, you know that this is Marilyn Monroe, right? Because you know her. But besides that, this is exactly how it works. You just show a random photo generated or taken, somewhere in a different place, and you say shit about it, and boom, it works. All right? Same with that dude, literally with the Nazi tattoo that could be either Photoshop, that could be fucking, I don't know, that could be taken literally, after a football match somewhere in Ryazan. All right. Nice lady, lucky man. Thank you, Blazin. That's the way Russian disinformation works. As easy as that. Okay? I can make like 1 million of such fakes. Seriously. Like, oh my god. Wait a second. Look, glorious Russian invaders are taking 2 Chinese mercenaries fighting for Ukrainian army. And fuck, that's it, all right? People will be watching this and they will be like, oh, fuck, Russian army is so good. All right? That's Vietnam War, by the way. So fakes are unfortunately being made very, very easily and in huge amounts by Russian bullshitters who are very, very good at making them. All right, they receive very, very big money for producing all that shit for people in Poland, for people in Czechia, and everything else. That would make her Starsky's 4th wife. Or thereabouts. Group, yeah, well, something like that. I'm not worried about the wives, I'm worried about the kids. Those that I know, at least. Okay, guys, let's return to the news updates because the Prime Minister of Sweden also called to prepare for the long-term isolation of Russia. He said that we have never had such a control over the Baltic Sea as today, and of course, he says, Mr. Christensen says, of course, this is the reason why Russia feels so mad about it, but this is our sea, and I'm sure that Sweden, Estonia, and other countries of European Union should prepare to the long-term isolation of the Russia. It won't just finish with this war, all right? I am a bit more optimistic though, because I really think that everything might finish with this war, all right? This war might actually end the very existence of this cancer on our planet called Terrorist Federation. I really hope so, all right? And I really hope so. I really hope that it will happen tomorrow. That's like my biggest wish this Christmas, all right? And returning to Mr. Christensen, this is absolutely proper thing to do. You gotta isolate Russia as much as you can, because Russia is an empire that lives through expansion, all right? They expand culturally, they expand economically, they expand territorially, of course, by invading other countries. That's the only way the Terrorist Federation can exist, all right? And if it's isolated completely on the international market, territorially, if it cannot invade other countries because they will be obliterated immediately, and if they cannot use, for example, naval routes to conduct their crimes, to rupture the communication cables, to smuggle the oil and weapons, of course they will just collapse after a while. You will see that, all right? It's very, very easy to see. So returning to our updates, this individual, all right, on the photo, he was detained by the legendary SBU, Ukrainian Security Service. This man was a terrorist coming from the so-called DPR, all right, the artificial republic created by Russia on the territory of Ukrainian Donbass. He fought in the Somali terrorist group. Somali was the group organized by so-called Givi, that's terrorist coming. He's local, actually. We were talking about another Russian hero, right? Pavel Arsenyev, call sign Motorola. He was a good friend with that, with the other one. So he fought in the Donetsk airport against Ukrainian soldiers back before the full-scale invasion. There is Zurimor, by the way, mentions something very important. There's a video on Kyiv Independent showing Russian terrorists targeting two civilians waving a white flag. I had this video, I didn't show it because it's just freaking too gruesome. Actually, yeah, it was, I believe, in the area of the Kherson, where Russians literally hit two elderly people with drones that were going down the road waving white flag because they wanted to pass, all right? And the Russian terrorists literally killed them and then showed that in their social media. So, returning to this case, this is something very interesting. And by the way, this is something that I did during my service in the police battalion. This dude was a pro-Russian terrorist. He comes from the Donbass region himself. He fought against Ukrainians before the full-scale invasion. He was wounded. And in 2025, in October, disguised and pretending that he's an internal Ukrainian refugee, he actually wanted to go to Volhynia in Ukraine in order to receive a Ukrainian passport and later move to the European Union. And Ukrainian Security Service actually identified these terrorists because, guys, we have databases on everyone, all right? And also they found a lot of interesting shit, all right? There's like Marines, all right? Russian Marines. Russian Marines actively participated in the Battle of Donetsk Airport in 2015, all right? So that's when Putin and all of his bullshitters were convincing people that there's no Russian troops in Donbass, all right? Like there were no Russian troops in Crimea. So there's a bunch of passports, the Donbass passport, the Russian passport, blah, blah, blah. The military ID of the so-called DPR, all that was taken and confiscated from this individual. And it's very funny, actually. Like, I told you already that on one hand they're kind of cunning there, on the other hand they're too stupid. And the very fact that the imbecile took all that goodness with him, that's so good. All that will serve as an evidence. I believe that he will receive a lot of years, but the fact is, imagine if he went, if he received a passport and went to the European Union, all right, with all that background, and was used, for example, in committing terrorist attacks in Poland somewhere, for example, all right? How crazy is that? Adam says, Starsky, he was just a passport collector, relax. True story. So, April 2022, all right? We detained a Russian soldier because April 2022, Russians already withdrew from the Kiev Oblast and they left plenty of facts behind. And this specific individual with 10 passports of 10 other people, all right, that didn't even look like him. He only had 10 passports that, I don't know, he could have collected from like dead bodies. I don't know. Back then, we didn't know whom they belonged to. Currently, I think that investigators already know. But he attempted to go to Chernihiv through the checkpoint and later somehow get to the territory of the Terrorist Federation. He had 10 passports with him of different people. That's insane. That is the passport collector, all right? So, in the previous episodes, we talked about this ugly shit, all right? We talked about Russians organizing museums for the kids in the Russian kindergartens and basically teaching them that the terrorist invasion of Ukraine is a good thing. I ranted a lot about this shit, and basically they're growing the cannon fodder for their future invasions and future meat assaults in other countries. All right, they train all those little children to basically grow up, sign contracts, and die for Putin, die for Kremlin, die for someone else's geopolitical ambitions, which, by the way, Tucker Carlson wants to see in the United States so much. He calls the American citizens so much to be like Russians, right? That's another thing, because the main reason I ranted yesterday was that the life mission of a teacher is to grow a person, all right, is to teach the kid how to be a proper human being with proper values, all right, with some proper ideas. And instead of that, they now teach the kids of how to grow up and become a cannon fodder. That's a new Russian agenda that is being implemented in 100% of Russian kindergartens, and we will see more Russian children eventually becoming Russian terrorists, all right, and basically Russian kamikaze, Russian cannon fodder. So, besides all that, on the territory of occupied Luhansk, according to Ukrainian all centers and according to the Ukrainian governor, head of Luhansk Oblast, Ukrainian governor of Luhansk, because Luhansk is occupied, but we still have Ukrainian government for this region, all right, on the controlled territory. So, according to their data, the teachers in the occupied Luhansk are now being forced to collect, to assemble the drones for the Russian terrorists. So, according to the information that comes from Alexei Kharchenko, that is the chief of the Ukrainian chief of the Luhansk administration, the invaders, the Russian invaders, consider this a very good practice because they need more hands to assemble drones for the Russian terrorists, you know, more drones to kill more elderly people marching down the road and hunt more Ukrainian kids playing soccer somewhere in the yard in Kherson. So they see this as a good practice. They need more hands, and also they are preparing a foundation for the kids on the occupied territories of Ukraine to build those drones. All right. Russia is turning into ISIS not just fast, it's on its way down, accelerating, all right, and passing the terminal velocity already, because Russia is turning into ISIS so fast. So soon we will literally see, I think, maybe squads of Russian kamikaze kids, all right, marching with the flags of the Putler-Jugend and prepared to give their life for, I don't know, Patriarch Kirill, great Russian motherland, and all that stuff. That's absolutely sick. If you know somebody, all right, who admires Russia for its beautiful culture, please tell them that the beautiful Russian culture is dead. Russia is ISIS today, all right, and there is no way back. So this one, okay, let me just, I know that there's a lot of people watching us who would not really like to see this content, all right, but how to do this? Ukrainians shared a drone footage portraying a dog actually snacking on a Russian who became better, all right? And that's not the only case. There are cases like that. There are numerous cases. That was actually video. I just paused it to show it to you briefly. It kind of looks... Fuck, how can you even touch that shit? Oh my god. Poor dog, but dogs have to survive. And generally speaking, if you go to Dobropilya, because that footage was made in Dobropilya, you can see that Ukrainian stray dogs are probably the fattest dogs in the world, because they just have snacks scattered around Dobropilya every 5 meters. If you take a 10-minute walk around Dobropilya, you can collect a Russian, all right, from different parts. Fuck. The doggo is trying to snack on his leg. Anyways, that kind of sucks. But what else can Russian invaders expect? Googleman says dog is drunk now. My god. Dog is risking of receiving all sorts of shit, all right, from that pile of fertilizer. Louis C.K. would be like, you're so disrespectful to people who came to kill you. Louis C.K. is my new favorite boy now. Sign contract with the Russian army, with the strongest army in the world, receive the biggest salary, all right, receive $5,000 preliminary payment, receive good uniform. You won't be taken to the front line straight away, of course not. So you will work in the rear somewhere, right? And later you find yourself literally dead somewhere in a freaking, I don't know, shed, all right, bombed by Ukrainian drones and eaten by a stray dog. How cool is that? That is the lyrics for the coolest metal song you can imagine, which, by the way, I should freaking make. I swear. I will do that. Yeah, Apocalypse, I agree with you. That's such a low-grade food right there. I would not recommend any dog do that. All right, but on the other hand, they need to survive somehow. All right. Let's talk about some of the cringiest episodes that we can observe in the Russian politics nowadays. All right, because it seems like Lavrov, the Mr. Dying Horse. Wait a second. I believe Alice sent me something regarding Lavrov. You're probably asking yourself, who the hell is Lavrov? So Lavrov is... my god, Ali, why is Putin naked? Jesus Christ, how could you do that to me? Just a second, I will make it... I will turn it into a proper picture, all right? Let me save this one. Give me just a second, my friends. I'm very, very sorry. I need to show you this, okay? It will take literally less than 30 seconds, I swear. Oh my god, I need larger. All right. So this stuff, no, I don't need this. This stuff that you can see on your screens is basically Lavrov, all right, over there on the right. Riding him is his Tsar, okay. I love this one, seriously. Like, nobody could design it better than Ellie, you're legendary. I won't even talk about spiders today, I promise. So on the right, you can see Lavrov, widely known over the world as dying horse. Okay, no disrespect to the horses, but it's just who he is. He's a dying horse, and he's also widely famous in Russia as their foreign minister. Okay. Thomas, clearly not AI. Absolutely, like it was a live footage, okay, taken like by real people. So it seems like Putin is not only riding Lavrov like a dying fucking horse. Putin also doesn't like Lavrov anymore. All right, it seems like Lavrov has been punished for failing the meeting between Trump and Putin in Hungary. All right. Let it just hang on your screens for a while. Yes, I just love this one. It's so good. So, what we could observe lately, we could observe that in October, Trump and Putin basically admitted that there will be no meeting in Budapest. Later, it became apparent that Lavrov became the only member of the Russian Security Council who didn't show up on the meeting with Putin on 5th of November. They were talking about the beginning of the nuclear tests, all right? Besides that, there is this summit of G20 that is being prepared, and in 24th of November it will take place in the South Africa. So Lavrov will not be leading the Russian delegation of Russian representatives on this summit. All right. And also, we didn't see Lavrov making any public statements since beginning of November. Why? So Peskov was asked about it, obviously. Peskov, the mustachio man, all right? Like, this is the mustachio man of a healthy person, and Peskov is a mustachio man of a smoker, all right? Same as Lukashenko. So Peskov was asked about this. Peskov, of course, said that, no, we love Lavrov, everything is fine. Mr. Lavrov is a good person, right? How can you say that? And basically, we don't see Lavrov making any public statements since for more than a week already. Why is that happening, all right? So that's something interesting that we noticed. We will see. And now I would like to talk just a bit about the situation in Pokrovsk. So according to the 7th Army Corps of the 7th Airborne Corps, all right? The Ukrainian army, you can see that amazing footage. We will talk about this specific footage in a while. According to Ukrainian airborne troops, the activity of Russian troops in Pokrovsk is decreasing. All right. Why it's important? I believe about a week ago, we've seen at least one commentator in the chat who was like, Russia is closing the cauldron around Ukrainian troops in Pokrovsk. Ukrainian army defeated 5,000 people locked in the cauldron. And the imbeciles like that were celebrating something that never happened, right? That's something that only happened in their minds. in their amazing fantasy, they were celebrating the fact that Russians are taking Pokrovsk, they are controlling, and everything else. And by the way, if you take a look at the map, which, by the way, is something that Georgie mentioned very, very well recently. If you take a look at the map, you will see that vast majority of Pokrovsk is currently controlled by Russians. It's marked as red, but at the same time, for some reason no one can explain, yesterday Ukrainian airborne troops planted Ukrainian flag in the downtown of Pokrovsk. They returned back, everything was fine. So according to the information we have right now, there are approximately 300 Russians concentrated in Pokrovsk. And you might ask, why the hell 300 battalion of Russians in the whole Pokrovsk? The whole Pokrovsk is controlled by battalion of Russians. And they still cannot take the city. Like, maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's because there's so little Russians there. So the answer is Pokrovsk is basically 15 square miles big, all right? It's a tiny village, just so you could understand. It's 10 times smaller than Bakhmut. And the population was 10 times smaller than Bakhmut. It's a tiny, tiny village, Pokrovsk, okay? So the Russians concentrated battalion of men on the territory that is, well, just a bit smaller than 15 square miles, all right? Not 100, 15 square miles, literally. That's how big Pokrovsk is, and that's literally the settlement the Russians trying to take so hard for the past 2 years, all right? Pretending that this is a huge fucking progress for the Russian army, the mightiest army in the, I don't know, Eastern Hemisphere, on its way to Berlin and Washington, unfortunately stumbled upon a tiny village of Pokrovsk. And that Russian bot that was talking about it 1 week ago, by the way, the Russian bot tried to present this as victory over militarist Japan, Nazi Germany, and evil gay America combined, all right, the tiny village of Pokrovsk. So that's just so you could understand the scale of the fight. Why it's so important for Ukrainians to fight in Pokrovsk, all right? Like, it's a tiny village. It's important for a very, very simple reason, because we want to burn as many Russians in Pokrovsk as possible, all right? It's not about territory, it's about the war of attrition. The war of attrition is basically the main point of it is to withstand, all right, to last longer than your opponent does. And Pokrovsk is slowly turning into this massive mass grave for the Russian invaders at this point. So that's it, all right? We slowly did that in Rubizhne, in Bakhmut. In Bakhmut, they sacrificed 35,000 Russian troops, only coming from Wagner, I believe, all right? And same was in Rubizhne, same was in Lysychansk, Severodonetsk, and same we can observe in Avdiivka and happening in Pokrovsk as well. The question is, where will they find more Russian men, all right, more cannon fodder, if all of their troops are being literally burned in those heat waves? Well, the answer, check out the earlier updates, those beautiful kids in the Russian kindergartens learning how to be a cannon fodder for Putin. That's unfortunately the answer to that. Lenny says, lots of them surrendering after Ukrainian drone broadcasts, giving instructions about how to do so. Some of them do. I cannot say that this is a massive thing in Pokrovsk. Adam Gronek, well over 100,000 in Pokrovsk. According to the information I have, in the very Pokrovsk actively involved in combat, there's approximately 11,000 Russian troops. Okay. And the rest is something about 50,000, 100,000, something like that. But actively involved in the combat at this point in the area of Pokrovsk are only 11,000 Russian troops. That's literally the Russian cannon fodder that is being sent into those meat waves on a daily basis. But doesn't mean that they will just disappear, because Russia will be bringing more and more cannon fodder to replace losses. So that's the situation about Pokrovsk. It's like, imagine you are drinking a beer, all right, from a glass bottle, and you are suddenly approached by a Russian person who says, I will sit on this bottle so much, so I will break it. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And the dude literally grabs your bottle of beer, puts it on the ground, and then this Russian pulls down his pants and starts like jumping on this bottle until it breaks, all right? And his fucking ass is torn apart and things like that. He's fucking bleeding, and he's like, I did it for Putin, all right? That's exactly what Russians are doing in places like Pokrovsk, Rubizhne, Severodonetsk, Bakhmut, Avdiivka. That is the easiest explanation, all right? The dude goes, I will break this door, okay? And instead of using tools to break the door, he starts banging his face against the door. He starts like banging his cock against the door. He breaks his limbs. He breaks his fucking nose. He loses his teeth. Of course, the door eventually collapses, but in the end, the dude is just standing there, all right, completely broken and celebrating, all right. However, he could do just this, all right, like and just open it. If he was just a bit smarter. So that's the way Russians are fighting, and that is something that imbeciles like, I don't know, Douglas McGregor are so much admiring, you know, that army for reasons I cannot explain. They just so love this idea of Russians sending the troops in the meat waves, you know, sacrificing the healthy Russian men, sending them as a snack for Ukrainian stray dogs, which, by the way, I completely approve, all right? I approve this sort of support for Ukrainian stray dogs. Ooh. Let's see what we have. So yeah, according to the Ukrainian airborne troops, the Russians are decreasing their activity in Pokrovsk. The enemy is also decreasing the amount of relocations. And this is the way the Russians are trying to minimize their losses and expecting the reinforcements. All right. So in order to do that, the Russians try to improve their logistics over the southern outskirts of Pokrovsk, but good Ukrainian drones didn't let that happen. In the area of Mirnograd, the situation is a bit more intense. According to the 7th Airborne Corps, the enemy is trying to change their vector of attack after the failed assaults coming from the east. One interesting thing that we can observe here is that the Russians had so many losses in this area, so now they are seriously thinking about decreasing the amount of losses because they don't have enough men to conduct those attacks. Even though, my friends, over the past 24 hours there were more than 200 attacks attempted, all right, in the area of Pokrovsk by the Russian terrorists. 200 attacks in this area, and they consider saving their cannon fodder for the upcoming attacks. I think that says a lot, actually, and I think it shows that the Russian attempts in the Pokrovsk are collapsing. I am not really optimistic about the future fate of Pokrovsk. I'm very optimistic about the number of the Ukrainian stray dogs having plenty of snacks after that, all right, in the area, having some very, very good Russian meat there. And also, I'm very happy about the total amount of Russian terrorists that will become a fertilizer in that area. So that's something that makes me a bit more satisfied, right, about all this. 7,000 people who lived in Pokrovsk, because again, we're not talking about 70, not even 17, 7,000 people who lived in Pokrovsk. Of course, they got evacuated. They will receive shelter all around Ukraine, wherever they want to go. It's fine. The village of Pokrovsk itself will become a big mass grave for the Russian terrorists. But again, the battle continues, and even despite the fact that the pressure is enormous currently, again, 200 attacks over the past 24 hours, that's insane. But we are also observing that Russia is throwing all they can at this point. Whatever they can collect, all sorts of, I don't know, pedophiles, maniacs, all sorts of Russian heroes are being sent into this meat assault, all sorts of Russian convicts, all sorts of Russian, I don't know, not only Russian cannon fodder, maybe some sort of foreign cannon fodder as well. Yesterday, my lady asked me about Americans and Canadians, generally people from the West, coming to Russia. She asked me, like, do they even come to Russia? Like, why? And I explained her those two interesting cases. One case of the Canadian family that went to Russia because they expected that Russia is an Orthodox Christian monocultural white country for white people, right, without gays. And one thing that they probably didn't expect to see is probably this, all right? That's, by the way, something that I showed my lady as well. You know that she's Muslim, she's Persian, and she was absolutely happy to see this. For example, this is Ramadan in Moscow, when approximately 50% of the Moscovian population, of the population of the Russian capital, is celebrating the beautiful holy day of Ramadan, right? And you might say, wait a minute, what do you mean 50%? Yeah, guys, approximately 50% of Moscow, according to the polls, is Muslim, all right? Which I cannot see anything wrong about that. Like, what's wrong with that? Russians don't like it much themselves, like non-Muslim Russians. I don't give a slightest damn about it. So you can see Russian streets full of Muslim people celebrating Ramadan every single year. Again, I don't see why it's wrong, but apparently that Canadian family that went to Russia, apparently they didn't know much about that. They didn't do their research well. And speaking of Russia, by the way, Russians also don't talk much about things that are very, very cringy, all right, that actually shatter the very foundation of the Russian Orthodox Christian faith, because, for example, Alexander Nevsky was Muslim, all right? The Alexander Nevsky, who established the foundation of the Moscovian Empire, he was a Muslim person because he was a subordinate of the Golden Horde. Like, generations of Russians were subordinates for the Golden Horde, and they were Muslim people. Again, nothing wrong about that, but that's something that makes Russians very, very shy for some reason I cannot explain. So that Canadian family went to the terrorist federation because they considered Canada gay, all right? And immediately after that, after they arrived, they were looked at like a shit they are. And they got immediately their money frozen on their bank account. They sold their house in Canada. They sold their house in Canada. Holy shit. Oh my God. So they arrived, they had all of their money frozen. The wife recorded a very, very big rant on a YouTube, in their social media. They believed that you have freedom of speech in Russia, that you can actually talk about it, all right? That if somebody does something bad to you, all right, that you as a person, as a civilian person in the civilized country, you have power over them. You can write an inquiry, you can write a complaint, and somebody above will review it and say, bad establishment, you have to listen to citizens, all right? They came from Canada. They are citizens. You are their servants, right? No. So she wrote a complaint, and apparently, I think so. Apparently, some of the Russian FSB showed up and told them to fucking shut up and remove that video, which they basically did. All right. So after that, the man, the husband of this family, actually recorded a video. It was like winter this year or last year, and he said, "Well, yeah, there was a problem, but apparently it was our problem. The state is not to blame. All right, us to blame." Blame us for making state angry, all right? That was our fuck up. So basically, we can congratulate them with becoming 100% legit Russian slaves, all right? Now it's done. And then that other, Ralph, by the way, mentions that in the chat, the Texan family who went to Russia as well, because apparently Texas was too Muslim and too gay for them, all right? Too black, too Muslim, and too gay. So they went to amazing democratic free country of Russian Federation, where it's so monocultural. It's only white people around, no gays at all. Only conservative Christians, all right? Oh. In most cases, I don't blame people who act stupid. In most cases, because I know the scale of the Russian disinformation. But some people are just degenerates. Let's just admit it, all right? Some people are just degenerates. So they went to Russia, and the husband was offered once in a lifetime opportunity to sign a contract with the Russian army, which he did. Which only shows just the level of the informational isolation he built for himself while staying in the United States. While staying in the United States, the dude didn't read like legit news outlets. He didn't read proper news. I bet my kidney. He was literally watching Tucker Carlson, his video updates about beautiful Russian subway stations, team pool, and he thought that Russia was just such a beautiful country where people respect the rights of white people and all that stuff. And they went there, and he didn't even see the updates about the million Russian men lost in this war, all right? He didn't even know about this, apparently. So he went there, he signed contract with the Russian army, who told him, you will receive great payment, great position, all right? You will receive all sorts of benefits, beautiful Russian pixel diarrhea camouflage, all right? You will not go to the front line. No, my friend, you will not. You will be safe. You will be safe. You will be safely working somewhere in the rear. I don't know, maybe building something, cleaning windows, all right, in the headquarters. Because why not? Everybody does that. That's majority of the guys who sign contracts. They do that, all right? They just march, wear uniform, make selfies, to show off in front of your American friends. Like, hey, look, motherfuckers, I'm wearing like the coolest uniform in the world. And basically, yeah, you will be safe. And like several years from now, you will return home to your Ust-Pizdusk, to your wife, Mary Ann, and you will be happy, all right? He signed contract immediately after barely a week spent in the Russian nowhere, drinking vodka and looking at Kalashnikov without shooting. He was sent straight to the Ukrainian front line, where he fucking disappeared. How cool is that? And his wife, let's call her Marianne, all right? I don't know I don't really remember her real name, and I don't give a slightest damn. She turned into a real Russian woman. Congratulations, because currently there's this very interesting movement, all right, in the terrorist federation, where women literally marry man after man, making them go to war, die, and basically receive compensations. All right, which is kind of hard nowadays, because in most cases they don't receive compensation, because in most cases, if the dude is killed, he's not pronounced dead instantly. Sometimes the commanders just, take their IDs, throw them in the stove, and pronounce them missing in action, because this is easier for the Russian Ministry of Defense this way. Just so you know, right? Because they will need to pay billions of dollars of compensation to the families of Russian soldiers, but why do that if you can fucking build a country house for a Russian general using all those money, right? Like, it's logic. So that is why they prefer to just burn the passports, burn the military IDs of the fallen Russian soldiers, fallen Russian invaders, and basically pronounce them missing in action, because you can be considered missing in action forever, all right, without receiving compensation. But when you sign contract, you receive the preliminary bonus, all right? No body, no lada, exactly. You receive preliminary bonus. Previously, it was something around $20,000. Fuck that. Those money are enormous even for us, right? $20,000 just like that in exchange for your life. Those money were huge, but recently, starting like several months ago, the Russian regions started decreasing this preliminary bonus, and currently you will receive not 20 but $5,000, 5, 7, 4, all right, 4, 5, 7, depending on where you come from. But still, in Russia, $7,000, that's enormous money, my friends. And that is why in Russia they have this amazing movement of like black widows, all right? That's something that, again, I was explaining yesterday, and my lady was so impressed and entertained. So a Russian lady is marrying a Russian dude, and and of course she drowns him in love, sweetness, all right, like Russian women. You see them on the Instagram, with those big fake lips and big boobs and asses, and like, come on. They marry them, and they go, Innokenty, we need more money, okay? We need more money to be happy. You want me to be happy? Don't you want me to be happy? And Innokenty goes, Luda, but fuck, where do I get you more money? She goes, sign contract, go to war. It's like, fuck, Luda, are you imbecile? I don't want to die. She's like, Innokenty, go to war, everything will be fine. All of my friends send money, everything's good. The dude goes, signs contract, he receives, okay, let's say $20,000. What does he do with the $20,000? Of course, he gives them to his wife. Why? Because he's taken to the training camp immediately. Where do you spend $20,000 in the fucking training camp? In Ust-Pizdyusk, all right? So he gives the money to the wife. The wife goes and buys a freaking iPhone, all right, smuggled into Russia nowadays with this amazing Max Messenger installed. She buys iPhone. She's like, she has fun, all right? The dude is killed. Regardless if he's killed or missing in action, doesn't matter anymore, all right? Like, if she receives compensation, it's good. If she doesn't, she files divorce and gets divorced without his presence. And then she marries another loser, all right? And says, Svirid, we need more money. We need to make me happy. Svirid is like, so what do I do? Or like, I don't know, Svirid, Abdul, Shamil, whatever. What do? Go sign contract. And Shamil, Abdul, or Svirit goes and signs contract and receives, all right, this time it's like a bit less, like $7,000, all right? Again, he gives everything to his beautiful wife, who says, you don't want to sign contract, you don't love me anymore. And Svirit Shamil goes, of course I love you. He signs contract and he goes to work, he fucking dies. And that's a whole fucking movement in Russia nowadays. I read the comments the other day. Oh my god, that was the best thing I saw in 2025. Alright. Ooh, it was interesting. So this American lady that came with her husband from Texas, she actually turned into a legit Russian woman now, alright? She's like a true Black Widow. She's like the real one. What can she do? My advice to her is file divorce, alright? Don't even wait for your husband. Seriously, that's just my personal opinion of a person who knows a bit about this shit. Don't wait for your husband. Fuck him. Just file divorce, find Shamil, marry, send him to the war again, get money, because this is how you survive. If you're like, you will get Lada. And post a review of that, all right, for us to laugh. So we have some more good news coming from the Terrorist Federation. But not exactly from the federation itself, coming from Sudan, because in Sudan, where we have another civilian war involving Russians big time, the Russian Il-76 was shot down. You can see the remains of the Russian aircraft on your screens.
كشف ده طيران مصري والله ده طيران مصري.
And according to the information that was confirmed, all right, that was confirmed, 3 members of the crew, including 4 members of the crew, including 3 Russians and 1 Belarusian, were eliminated on board of this airplane. Kotlerov Dmitry, Donskих Dmitry, Yegorov Dmitry, 3 Dmitries. The hell, like they just hired Dmitries or something, I don't know. And Gryaznov Alexander from Belarus. They were eliminated on board of this airplane. So this airplane was smuggling weapons, and as far as I remember, it was also sanctioned, all right? And basically it improved. And do you remember the scene where Russian Fox in 2014 walk around the remains of Malaysian MH17 coming from Netherlands, right? With all those bodies of civilians just scattered around. 300 people were killed by a Russian missile in 2014, and they just walk around those remains, taking selfies and celebrating, digging in the personal belongings of the passengers and things like that. Well, this stuff is called karma, my friends, and we can see only one example involving 4 degenerates, but according to the laws of karma, it will extend over time. Trust me on that. I believe in karma. I don't believe in supernatural things. I really don't, all right? I don't believe in ghosts. I try to find any real evidence myself when I was a kid. No, I don't believe in that shit. But karma works. Karma freaking works, guys. It really does. I will prove it, all right, later during the stream. Raymond Brunning says, stealing the luggage. Yeah, there was a crazy case in Russian Vkontakte network, all right? After the Boeing was shot down, they started looting the property of the passengers, all right? Passengers from Netherlands, passengers from Malaysia, other countries. They started looting the belongings of the passengers, like cosmetics, like cups, like clothes, all right? And they started fucking selling them in Vkontakte, all right? And they didn't even bother. They were actually bragging. They're like, look, the eyeliner or like eyeshadows and lipstick from MH17, from Malaysian Boeing. And everybody goes, yay! It is the case. Guys, I'm not making this up. It's in Google, all right? Search Russians sell belongings from MH17. You will be fucking impressed. All right? I think people who admire Russian terrorists would literally want to see that. So, just so you know, karma works, all right? Karma works, and we will see karma striking Russians for that, like it always does. So this one is actually very cringy because this one is made by Ukrainian airborne, currently fighting in Pokrovsk, and on this footage you can see the targets. You can see a bunch of Russians taking selfie from the Pokrovsk downtown. All right, that's around the place, by the way, where Ukrainian airborne troops installed the flag. So they were taking selfies, and the reason they were taking selfies would be, of course, to show off, to say Pokrovsk has fallen, all right, Pokrovsk is Russian now, all right, and basically you can see the shape of Pokrovsk on this footage, because that's exactly what every Ukrainian town or village looks like after Russian peace, Russian world comes into it, all right. So the Russians were taking selfie in the downtown of Pokrovsk to report in the Russian social media that Pokrovsk is gloriously taken, but nasty Ukrainian drone prevented them from doing that, right? James said, sounds like a great sniper target. Snipers are nagging nowadays. Ukrainian snipers are nagging nowadays because Ukrainian drone operators eliminate times more Russian cannon fodder than snipers would. All right, which is like, I agree, it's so unfair, specifically for snipers, because you train a lot. You sacrifice your health, you sacrifice your mental health for that, because it requires you a lot of labor actually to become a good sniper, a lot of labor, a lot of skills, a lot of money, of course, spent on tuning, and stuff like that, equipment. And then there's like Vasya from your neighborhood who actually played PlayStation his whole life, and he kills more Russians on a daily basis than you, all right? That is frustrating. I agree, and like I don't blame snipers for that. I feel for them actually. So yeah, a cringy footage for you, my friends, with a bit less cringy update following this one, because tonight actually Ukraine survived some of the biggest strikes conducted against its gas network since 2022, actually. And this is something that Ukrainian authorities report today. They say that this attack was some of the nastiest ones since the start of the war. So you can see the approximate map of all those Russian drones and Kinjal missiles and ballistic missiles attacking Ukrainian infrastructure in the south. That's Odessa and Dnipro, Kharkiv, Poltava, Cherkasy, Chernihiv, Kyiv. So unfortunately, this strike resulted in numerous casualties among the civilian population, because the Russian drone hit a house. This one was hit in Dnipro. A woman was killed by Russian terrorists, and there's unfortunately plenty of people that were injured. According to the Ukrainian rescue service, Dnipro, Kiev, Kiev Oblast, Kirovograd, Mykolaiv, Kropyvnytsky area, Mykolaiv, Poltava, Sumy, Kharkiv, Chernihiv were attacked by the Russian drones. There were more than 10 fires recorded across Ukraine because of that. And of course, because this is a game for two, all right, though Ukraine doesn't target civilians usually, all right, we could observe something similar taking place on the Russian territory as well. So this is Kursk. Okay, Kursk celebrated very, very well. Hoops says 38 Aussies on MH17. Yeah, there are numerous people from other countries as well. People coming from Amsterdam. People, I think there were even Ukrainians, but I might be wrong. 300 people almost. 298. That's absolutely fucked up. So, returning to drone party in Kursk, I believe that some of the power generating facilities were hit there. In the meantime, Saratovsky oil refinery was also hit. She's like, oh my god, it's happening finally! Jesus Christ. Oh, I can recognize this sound. Huh. That's good. So, Saratov oil refinery. And guys, looking at this lady, you might think that's so cruel showing her, all right, in your stream, because that's just an innocent Russian lady. Don't make fun of her. And the fact is, she's alive, my friends. Ukraine strikes oil refineries. Yes, she might be scared. Yes, she might need to change her fucking underwear after that. But first of all, this is what Russia deserves. And second of all, she's fucking alive. She doesn't need to go to the bomb shelter, bring her kids, bring her fucking cats, because Ukraine is not killing her, all right? Ukraine strikes the oil refineries. Ukraine strikes power facilities, so the terrorists don't have opportunity to kill more Ukrainians. That's basically all you need to know, all right? They lose some windows sometimes, but again, guys, they deserve that. All right, they deserve that absolutely. After all they've done to Ukraine, a fucking scratch on the car is the least they deserve, okay? So, according to the monitoring channels, the Saratov oil refinery was attacked one more time. We can celebrate this because this means less fuel for the Russian tanks and more Ukrainian lives saved, all right? More Russian fertilizing the endless fields of Ukrainian sunflowers that will be growing like crazy over the following decades. So Germany warns that Russia actually can attack already tomorrow, according to the German General Alexander Zollfrank, the commander of the United Operative Command of Germany and the person who is planning the defense of Deutschland. He said that Russia can actually attack the territory of NATO even tomorrow. If you look at current capacity and military power of the terrorist federation, it can start a limited attack on the territory of NATO already tomorrow. And you might ask, wait, Russians are struggling over the village of Pokrovsk for 2 years, all right? What sort of military power we're talking about? And the answer to that, unfortunately, we don't need to underestimate Russian terrorists, because Ukraine does fight, all right? Ukraine has millions of drones. Ukraine has all those brave people that went through enormous trainings, went through training exercises in Germany as well, in United Kingdom, in European countries, and they are fighting like devils, all right? So Ukraine is fighting because Ukraine currently has this capacity. Compared to Ukraine, countries like Germany, countries like you name it, all right, except maybe for France. Compared to Ukraine, other European countries are less capable of fighting against Russia. They are less prepared. Speaking of drone warfare, they are not prepared at all, unfortunately. Russia actually has capacity of attacking Baltic states, places like Estonia, Lithuania, Poland, maybe. Poland has a bit more stronger army, but still not as developed, not as strong as Ukraine does. And the only way, all right, the only way to fix this situation is to cooperate deeper with Ukrainians, cooperate closer with the Ukrainian defense sector, with experienced Ukrainian soldiers, with experienced Ukrainian experts, with people who worked in the defense sector of Ukraine, cooperate closer, all right? Build better defense for European countries. That's the only thing that can save you from Russian invasion. That actually, I completely agree with General Zollfrank, can actually start tomorrow, yeah. So, let's talk just a bit about Russian cringe, shall we? You might recognize this stuff here, all right? That's Russian whatever bullshit symbol of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. What can I say about this one? This one, you know, they like Z, they like V, they like different letters of Latin alphabet so much, apparently because it's so gay and Western, so they just enjoy wearing those letters. So this one, for some reasons I cannot explain, looks very, very much like the German Nazi patch from the times of the World War II. Look at this copy-paste generally. How crazy is that? Oh my god, and they're wearing that, all right? They're wearing that. US colors, obviously, 100%. I believe that Hexet and the spokesperson for the White House, they would just look at that and say, like, nothing wrong with that. That's like American colors, all right? The colors of American flag. So that's just one case of the Russian cringe, because guys, if they had like swastik on their tank, the Russian people would be proudly wearing swastiks today, all right? If they had swastiks on the tanks incurring, for example, Kyiv Oblast, incurring HOSTOMEL, all the Russian people would be wearing the Adolf's swastik nowadays, and they would have absolutely no problem with that, all right? But that symbol on the left was actually very, very much widespread in the German Nazi German army in the times of the World War II, all right? It was like a very Very popular thing back then. V for vagina, V for Vatnik. 100%. So, Ellie Queen, the young Republicans are openly pro-Nazi. I know that. They are. They really are. And again, they don't see any problem with that. One thing that you should know about the so-called young Republicans and generally about the far-right Americans who support Russian terrorism, who hate Ukraine, love Putin and things like that. One thing you should know about them, there is a very, very easy way to understand if they are paid Russian propagandists, if they do receive money, all right, from Kremlin directly, like Tim Pool, or if they are just imbeciles, all right. There's a very easy way to understand. If they start talking about like Ukrainian Nazi, they are paid Russian propagandists, all right. Russia pays them to retransmit this. If they simply, like, you know, throw Nazi salutes and say shit about people of other color and stuff like that, Muslims and yada yada, but they never mention, you know, Ukrainian Nazi, it means that they're just imbeciles because they literally don't see anything wrong with being Nazi. So that's very, very easy and very, very interesting fact that you should know about those. How to identify, all right, like the paid Russian propagandist and like simply an imbecile. That's just so you know. Use this knowledge wisely, my friends. Returning, all right, to the Russian cringe and the topic of karma. In Dagestan, the Ka-226, the helicopter coming from Kizlyar electromechanical plant, crashed, and those Russians on board, they became better instantly, all right, they became good Russians immediately after that, and this helicopter was carrying actually the staff that was working for the Russian so-called defense industry, for the Russian war machine. Right, the Gislyar electromechanical plant is a sanctioned company on the territory of the Terrorist Federation, and the workers that crashed in this helicopter, they worked there. All right. Considering that it was a helicopter, I think maybe some sort of top management was involved as well. But why are we seeing this on our screens? That's just another confirmation that karma works, that we will see more of such things happening on the territory of the terrorist Russian gangland, because Russian aviation sucks balls. Sanctioned Russian aviation is experiencing very, very bad days, all right, and their aircraft will keep falling. Question from Hooves: who killed more people, Stalin or Hitler? That's a very interesting question, by the way. Let's refer to our chat GP. Oh my god, I still have like the horse, all right, with Putin. Jesus Christ, my eyes are bleeding. All right, let's ask the wisest man I know in this room. All right, let's ask ChatGPT. Oh, wise ChatGPT, we welcome thee on our stream on a YouTube. Operator Starsky here with my friends. Please tell us, share your wisdom on this specific question. Who killed more people, Stalin or Hitler? The question comes from Hooves.
Well, hello there. It's nice to be on your stream, and hello to Operator Starsky and friends. So that is definitely one of those heavy historical questions, I would say. You know, historians generally agree that both of those dictators were responsible for just massive human tragedy. The numbers vary a bit, but it's often said that Stalin's policies and purges led to tens of millions of deaths, and Hitler's atrocities during the Holocaust and World War II also in millions of deaths. It's a grim comparison for sure, but historians usually say Stalin's policies may have resulted in a slightly higher death toll overall. But yeah, it's definitely a very somber topic. If you want to dive deeper, I'm happy to chat more.
Thank you very much, oh wise ChatGPT. Glory to Ukraine, and we'll see you later.
You're very welcome. And hey, take care, glory to Ukraine, and feel free to reach out anytime if you want to chat again. Have a great stream.
ChatGPT, as you could probably see, is a real Kozachenko, all right? Basically what he confirmed is that Stalin killed more people. It doesn't mean that Adolf was a better person, all right? Because they both did, I would say, equally horrible things. In terms of atrociousness, all right? But at the same time, Hitler killed less people, in my personal opinion, only because he died, all right? He would continue doing that. So this insane competition would continue anyways. Stalin killed more people because he wasn't stopped, all right? Because as soon as the Second World War finished, Stalin wasn't considered an enemy, even though they started this war together with Adolf. All right, the Pact of Molotov-Ribbentrop, the famous Russian-German mutual parade in the occupied city of Brest. They started this war as allies. The Russians were the best friends of Adolf before the beginning of the Second World War. They were friends. They were teaching each other's troops how to conduct tank attacks, how to deploy the airborne troops and things like that. They were good friends. All right. And by the way, whatever Russians are saying, like there were Ukrainian collaborationists on the German-occupied part of Ukraine. The number of them was approximately 10 times smaller than the Russian Nazi collaborationists from the Russian Liberation Army on the Russian territory. The Russians had something like 1 million men fighting for Adolf Hitler. On the Russian territory. That's again something that Russians don't say. And by the way, this amazing stuff that you see here, all right, that's the colors of the Russian Liberation Army during the World War II, fighting for Adolf Hitler against Russians. All right, Russian citizens, Russian nationals, using these colors, they were fighting for Hitler. So the answer to your question, the biggest problem was that Stalin wasn't stopped after that. Stalin in 1947 he committed third Holodomor in Ukraine, killing more people in Ukraine with the artificial famine. And the West just closed their eyes and turned away, and they let him kill Ukrainians. So that's the biggest tragedy of the post-war period, all right, that civilized world didn't stop the second bloody maniac, the former best friend of Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin. So that's the answer. To me, they are equally bad. In Ukraine, they are equally condemned, all right? In Ukraine, both communism and Nazism, they are both illegal, they're both banned. If you go on a street wearing whatever, either swastika or like Russian symbolics, sickle and hammer, or that black and diarrhea ribbons that Russian supporters always wear, you will get arrested immediately. We don't even care that, like, freedom of speech. Yes, you have freedom of speech, but this shit is illegal, all right? You go straight to jail for that. That's what we do in Ukraine. Because some things you have to distinguish the freedom of speech and promotion of terrorism, promotion of crime. In Ukraine, we don't tolerate that. So what else can I say? let's return to this specific case of Russian Nazism. All right. This woman is Galina. Galina lived in Latvia more than 60 years. Galina is a Russian person who spent 60 years living in Latvia. She failed the language test. I don't know what to comment here. She spent 60 years living in a foreign country where people don't speak Russian, all right? But she thought, why the fuck learn this fucking language if I can just ask them, all right, to talk to me in Russian language? I don't understand your fucking Latvian language. I'm Russian. Deal with this. She lived 60 years in Latvia, and by the way, in her interview, of course, she says, like over there, all right, in the subtitle, she says, "Yes, it's so good to see to live here. That is why I want to remain in Latvia so much. It feels like home." Of course, it feels like home. It feels so good in Latvia. I want to remain. Of course, I'm looking at that face, so surprised that she failed the test and now she's being sent to her fucking motherland. In Ukraine, we have a saying: "It's too late to drink Borjomi after your kidneys fell off." All right, that's exactly the case of that. Because that is the Russian Nazism in its essence, my friend. That's Dr. Ratweasel. That's worse than cultural arrogance. That's Russian Nazism in its essence. It's when you go to a foreign country and you say, "This country is so good, I will stay here and I will turn it into Russia." All right, that's what they do. That's their mentality. Wherever they go to other countries wearing those proud shirts. I'm Russian, fucking deal with this, all right? And they want us to tolerate it. So, what can I say? She can now be deported to her beautiful motherland, where everyone speaks her beloved Russian language that she can literally enjoy. Her dream has come true. So what do we have there in the chat? The swastika originally was a symbol for luck. The sun symbol turned into the opposite way. It's widely used in India even today. I literally had friends when I worked in the World Bank. I literally had friends from all around the world, India included. That's where I learned to speak Indian English, all right, for a while, because I had a lot of Indian friends, and some of them even had like tattoos, but portraying not Hitler's swastika, but the Indian one, the symbol of sun, that is a symbol of luck and love and everything else. Yeah, and first I was like, what the hell is, and then I'm like, I see that. But of course the symbols the Russians are using now, especially those V ones, they are 100% Nazi symbols made in Nazi colors, because that's exactly the colors that Russian Nazi were using. Let me show you something very interesting, all right? Here, for example, we will go Roa Simvolika, because I'm not sure that you have seen it previously, all right? So here we have the symbols of the so-called Russian Liberation Army, the Russian Nazi collaborationists, all right, fighting for Hitler during the times of the World War II. So just so you know, all right, they had the modern colors of the Russian flag on their Nazi patches, all right? They had literally the modern Russian flag on the patches of the Russian collaborationist army fighting for Hitler and against the Soviet government, okay? So that is literally, that is something that comes straight from the museum, all right? That is the award cross. Generally, guys, how do you like this stuff? Like here is the helmet of a Nazi collaborationist during the times of the World War II. The Nazi helmet, the German helmet, obviously, and here you see ROA, Russian Liberation Army, and the colors of the Russian flag. That is the thing, all right? And there is a very, very famous Russian painting of actually Russian troops at the victory parade in Kremlin throwing the flags of the captured German units to the walls of mausoleum, and among them is a modern Russian flag. So that is, again, something that you should be aware of, that the very Russian flag is Nazi in its nature, all right? Ellie, what is going on there in the chat? I missed the discussion. So, what else do we have? Oh, Jesus Christ. So, this is actually a very famous painting, all right? The family carrying like a oh my God, a coffin. I forgot what it's called. So this picture is called, according to the modern realities, this painting is called "When the Fuel Has Finished, but the Russian Special Military Operation Hasn't Finished Yet." All right? When you don't have fuel anymore, but the Russian Special Military Operation continues. That's basically the reality. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. This is dark, but it's beautiful at the same time. I fucking love it. Oh my God. This one I would really like to address real quick, all right? This one. Because it's very important. Outlaw the practice of Islam. Absolutely anti-ethical to democracy. Do not put up with your Islamic shit, as there is no such practice of theocratic moderate Islam. So, first of all, it depends on where you are, all right? If you are in Turkey, for example, they don't give a shit. All right. If you are in Qatar, they also don't give a shit. If you are in Iran, they do. And it's not because of religion, my friend. It's because of the people ruling the country. Because if you take a look at ISIS and if you take a look at Russia, they are both terrorist states. They are both using the same approach. They both use the suicide bombers. They both train their kids as shahids. They both commit atrocities, decapitate people, send incendiary devices and bombs. They are the same. Russia and ISIS are the same. At the same time, Russia is a Christian state and ISIS is the Islamic state. Religion doesn't matter, all right? Religion is just the faith. It has absolutely nothing to do with politics. Your very belief doesn't have anything to do with whatever military patch you're wearing, all right? No. It's the people, all right? And the people who say that you have to hate those guys, all right, because they have wrong faith, wrong skin color, wrong political opinion. You have to hate them, all right? Hate them, kill them, condemn them. They are the problem, all right? The people who say that this religion is bad, all right, let's kill them all. They are the problem, all right, my friends? So please don't repeat the mistakes made by Putin, by Hitler, by all those dictators who are to blame for millions of people being killed, all right? Don't repeat their mistakes. It's very, very bad. You should not say things like that those guys are bad because they're wearing red shirts, those guys are bad because they're wearing blue shirts. It's wrong. The power of our society is not in separating, all right? Is not in separating different communities, different people. It's in uniting them, all right? And uniting them despite the religion, despite the political opinion, it's in uniting them. And that's the only way for us to actually survive, all right? Is survive in face of the Russian threat, survive in face of North Korean, Chinese threats. That's the only chance for us. Just so you understand, all right, the reality. I completely agree with our friend Ryder here. Today we still have medieval retards with superstitious beliefs and zealot-like behavior. Absolutely, absolutely. We have them anywhere you go, all right? And we have medieval assholes anywhere. Again, it doesn't depend on the religion. It depends on the assholes. There are assholes that circumcise females, for example, all right? It's not because of Islam. It's because of assholes. Then there are people who go with their crucifixion into battle, that baptize the weapons that kill Ukrainians. It's not because of Christianity. It's because of assholes doing that, all right? Religion is not the problem. People are. If you have a knife, you have a chance. Either you cut sausage or you cut heads with the knife, all right? The question is how you use this stuff, okay? So don't attack things like religion, because to me, again, like faith is an individual thing, and to me faith is more about culture than the faith itself, all right? To me it carries a lot of historical values, for example. Through religion you can see, for example, how other countries develop, all right? Go to Köln. There is this fucking dome that is like almost 200 meters tall, all right? I went all the way upstairs, 157 meters. I almost died. I saw my grandpa there, my friends. Don't do that. Or send someone you really hate. Tell them, it's a great idea to go upstairs. But when you look at the dome, you understand one thing. That shit was built through 6 centuries, all right? The dude who founded the dome, the dude who established the foundation, had no chance to see it complete because it was completed 600 years after that. How crazy it is. And you see all the different parts that were built through different eras. That is insane. Or for example, when you look at, I gotta ask my lady, she showed me this one, like that crazy mosque that was built in the medieval times, but every single night when there's lights inside, because the windows of the mosque are made from different, like mosaic, it's a mosaic actually, of different color of the glass, and you see the light going outside, flowing outside through those windows and falling on the structures around it. That shit is insane. You don't see that much even in modern era with all those lasers and everything else and projectors. That is insanely cool when you actually learn about it from the standpoint of culture and history, all right? The fucks who tell you to wear, I don't know, Christian cross or wear a Quran surah and go kill somebody, they are the problem. They are the biggest problem, all right? Sorry about the rant. So, returning to the Russian cringe, my friends, this one, oh my god, I need to finish my coffee because I need some air before I explain this one. Oh my god. So, this stuff on your screen, that is again like Russian talk show, blah blah blah, NTV. They invited a marketing specialist. All right. They invited marketing specialist that does all sorts of marketing campaigns for alcohol in Russia, right? And his last name is Bragin, by the way, which is cringy. It's like you're an alcohol marketing specialist, all right? For example, doing marketing for some beverage brands, and for example, your last name is Beerman, right? That's exactly the case. So he was asked, do you support the increasing the age for the alcohol consumers? Because in Russia, as far as I remember, it's something like 18 years old. You're 18 years old, you can buy shit. Generally, in the Russian stores, you can buy alcohol even if you're like 5, all right? Nobody gives a damn. But they had this discussion about whether you support the increasing the age limit, all right, for the consumers of the alcohol in the Russian Federation. He said no. And the way he explained this, oh my God, let's hear this actually.
Увеличится количество.
Because it's amazing.
Ну вот смотрите, будет увеличится количество закладок, увеличится количество отравления, о которых вот много говорим. Но...
He says, if you increase the age of people that are able to buy alcohol in the stores, you will see the increased number of illegal alcohol storages, you will see the increased number of poisonings, which I don't fucking even understand how it's related.
Самое страшное, на мой взгляд, что произойдет, это вот вы сделаете, ну, если это будет реализовано, то станут более несчастными миллионы не самых красивых российских женщин.
And this explanation, fuck, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. He says, but the worst thing that happens is that millions of ugly Russian women, he said like not really beautiful Russian women, will become extremely sad. All right? We need to keep the age of alcohol consumers low. 18, maybe 16, why not? Because otherwise, ugly Russian women will be very, very upset. All right? Fuck, this is only Russian television could give birth to this beautiful content. Oh my god, I enjoy it. I fucking enjoy it. I wish Sophia was here. And by the way, I will return Sophia on Monday. All right, she agreed. This is fucking beautiful. This is fucking beautiful.
Да что вы все время про...
Я все про демографию.
Женщины у нас самые
Женщин
красивые.
некрасивых не бывает. Бывают мужики просто, козлы или...
Я вам
Ну,
So he's like, why are the host asks like, why are you talking about like women? There are no ugly women. There are men who are idiots. And the dude goes, I care about demography. The dude literally calls to keep the level of alcohol consumption in Russia high, especially among young Russians, because he cares about demography. There's no family happier, you know, where a child was born when two drunk parents, 18 years old, for example, had sex. You will not find a happier family, you know. This family will be so freaking successful, all right? Holy shit, I love the Russian experts. I thank God for... I don't thank God for sending us this war, but I thank God for making our enemies such fucking imbeciles. I don't know, I enjoy this stuff. Only on the Russian television, alright? You can see this degenerate shit. Oh my God. What else do we have, my friends? We have some more Russian cringe. The favorite topic of Russian heroes. All right. So in St. Petersburg, former Russian law enforcement office. Crime enforcement officer Konstantin Shakht was arrested. Why was he arrested? It's because he kidnapped and murdered a Russian crypto scammer, Roman Novak, and his wife. So, according to the investigation that was conducted in the Terrorist Federation, this man organized the fake meeting with investors between them and the crypto scammers, Russian crypto scammers. He organized the meeting with him and his wife. He took them hostages, and since he was unable to receive access to their wallets with their cryptocurrency, he murdered them and buried their bodies in the desert. So, according to the insider among the participants of this crime, there are two veterans of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Yuri Sharipov and Vladimir Dalekhin, two proud Russian veterans of the invasion of Ukraine, veterans of the Russian special suicidal operation. That is so beautiful. You know, if they go to jail, the easiest thing they can do is to actually sign contracts and go to war again, and if they survive, they will return. If not, the Russian school, or maybe some Russian desks in the Russian school, will be named after them, after the heroes of Russia, all right? And the Russian kids sitting behind the desk will be like very happy for sitting behind the desk named after Yuri Sharipov or Vladimir Dalekhin, who kidnapped and murdered a Russian couple. How cool is that? That's absolutely beautiful. I just enjoy it so much when I see, you know, those Russian kids being actually raised, learning the life stories of Russian maniacs, Russian rapists that are now glorified as Russian heroes. That's something that all supporters of the Russian terrorism should know about. And another thing, guys, this is the last thing for today. So today Ukraine is celebrating the day of the Ukrainian airborne troops. All right, these guys are considered some of the toughest that we like. I cannot even tell that they are the toughest, because when you look at Ukrainian National Guardsmen, when you look at Ukrainian tankers, when you look at Ukrainian air defense, when you look at Ukrainian Even Ukrainian Navy, guys, Ukraine that doesn't have frigates and destroyers, but has enormous amounts of drones and Neptune missiles, all right? Those guys don't even need those aircraft carriers. They can just eliminate whatever fleet they need to eliminate remotely. They are crazy. Ukrainian army is a place for tough people, all right? The toughest people in the world. And when you look at them, guys, craziest fact is that this dude could be a teacher or a taxi driver or, I don't know, he could work in the library, he could be a plumber, all right? But because there is such a necessity nowadays in Ukraine, he's wearing uniform and he's among the toughest Ukrainian servicemen. So, congratulations to the Ukrainian airborne troops. Those guys are tough. Myself, in 2020 or around, I went to Zhytomyr actually to get more acquainted with the 95th Airborne Brigade, because I was kind of like, not like I wanted to quit the National Guard, but I just wanted to learn more, all right, just in case. So I went there and I spent some time talking to the guys there, and I can say that they are probably the bravest among the brave, all right? Those guys are absolute legends. Luisa, what did you miss? Russians calling to keep the level of alcohol consumption in Russia high because they need more ugly women to bear kids. That's literally just a copy paste of the Russian television show, all right? Just so you could understand. That was crazy. Richard, good morning. Friends, very, very sorry for not streaming yesterday. I know I promised, but again, I got attacked by a mustache, and I just couldn't do that. I had no charge. In the end of the day, I finished the video, and I literally felt like just switching off. After COVID, I have this thing that I cannot explain. I need to sleep at least twice a day. Sometimes like 2 times, sometimes like 3 times. I feel fine, then eventually it's like, you know, the switch is getting turned off and I'm just going on the autopilot mode. To the bed, I lie down and I need to sleep. I don't know what the hell is this. I'm drinking plenty of coffee. I'm using all sorts of stimulators. They just don't help. Maybe I need something stronger, I have no idea. Is it true that a lot of Russian women have beards? I've literally no idea. I'm not really acquainted closely with Russian women because I'm not a fan. All right. Yeah, David, that's exactly Movember. Did I get a tick somewhere? No, my friend, I got COVID in like 2020. And it started after that immediately. Since the very first day I got COVID in 2020, I started feeling like those, you know, immediate urge to go and sleep. Like I just switch off instantly. So I just don't know. Certain subscribers miss you when no coffee time. Very, very sorry. I'm seriously. I thought about doing it yesterday. Around 11 p.m. I opened my eye. I looked at the watch. I thought, shit, I gotta do this stream. But then basically I got attacked by mustache, and basically that's it. Starsky not on OnlyFans confirmed. Did you look the mustache category? "30-day locked up in a room is hard." Oh yeah, I can tell. I wasn't locked myself much because, again, I served in the National Guard. I had to go to checkpoints, go on duty and things like that. We had a lot of checkpoints where we were literally scanning people's temperature, right? We were making sure that people don't have symptoms or anything like that in order to prevent the COVID from spreading. And people were so mad about that. They were like, "Why did you bring the National Guard to the checkpoints?" Guys, for your own safety. It's not like we're, I don't know, dragging you out of a car, undressing you and things like that. No, we're just checking the temperature really quick, with that fast temperature scanner, and you're free to go. And people were nagging, people were complaining so much, I love people. They always do that. I prefer kvass. It's delicious. Kvass is so good, my friends. I miss kvass. I miss kvass so bad. Regarding alcohol, Russia should have free booze for women to make Russians seem more tolerable. Russian women actually have a very, very big advantage over the Russian men. It's because Russian women send them to Ukraine, their men die, and then Russian women can buy fish. So they have advantage. They don't even need alcohol for that to work. You hated it, they hated it. Yeah, absolutely. It was fun. Guys, where else in the world can you experience that, seriously? Pandemic 2020, it's freezing cold outside and there's like this big traffic jam on the checkpoint and you're standing there. To me, it looked like some, I don't know, zombie apocalypse movie, something like that. You can see that in the computer games. A lot. So it was an interesting experience. Literally guys wearing like those. The only thing they missed was like biohazard suits. My missus says my mustache looked like a cocktail broom. Cocktail broom. Friends, with your help, I discover so many new things, all right? Because, for example, I never knew that there is a cocktail broom. Now I know. Thank you so much for this experience. A cock broom. Like this? Just in case, all right? I need to know. Cocktail umbrella is a thing too, absolutely. I have no idea why they stick umbrella in the cocktail, but anyways. Who is Mustache? That's literally... What was the name of the dude in Breaking Bad? It's like my attempt to cosplay him due to the Halloween, right? Your mustache is growing on me. Guys, I think I will keep it. I really do. It's great 70s stash. Yeah. Like literally, when I have those, I feel like I am 70. Mustache is called soup strainer. Absolutely, it's so cool when, for example, you're driving somewhere, all right, and you feel hungry, or even starving like crazy, and for like hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, there's absolutely no pit stop anywhere, all right. There's no cafe, no gas station. So what you do, literally pull like hamburger out of your mustache, and you can snack on it. Like you have hamburger, you have some desserts, you have some Coca-Cola, all right? It works like that. Actually saved me many times. And just in case, all right, actually it's true that I grow mustache every year or so, because for example here you can observe me. My God, where was that? Kurakhove, Krasnohorivka? I don't remember. Yeah, but you can observe me with that. But I make a lot of stupid photos, you know, with random ladies, and you can see me. Was it Kurakhove or Krasnohorivka? Like in that general direction, right? We were working together with that lady is an investigator, by the way, from the local police station, and a detective, all right. And we worked on one case. So I had mustache, and from her look, all right, she's like, she looks at me and she's like, dude, you could be my great grandpa. And I'm like, yeah, you can call me like that. You are allowed to. So sometimes I do that. Sometimes I do weird shit. You can get any woman in Ukraine. Well, and first of all, I already have my woman. She's Persian, all right? And secondly, I literally have no chance because I was a press officer in the National Guard. Now you go to Ukraine, there's recon dudes, there's airborne guys, there's special force operators. I have no chance, seriously. This is like Goa-T. It's not Goa-T because I just didn't shave, all right? But I had like this, you know, like horseshoe mustache, like the Cossack mustache for a while. I had to shave it off after 2 weeks because it itched like crazy. I could not stand it, all right? I waited like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after it grew, and then 2 more weeks. I just could not bear it. I just had to shave it off. And when you shave off the mustache, usually for a couple of days, you keep looking as if you were drinking for like a week because your face is like meh for some reason. I don't know how it works. Anna Danilchuk and Starsky would be a power couple. Absolutely, but her husband would kill me. The itchy face is annoying. Only one time, a couple of months ago, actually, I grew like that massive beard. You probably saw it in the streams. And that was the only time it didn't itch, all right? But the problem was the food started to disappear all of a sudden. Like I'm having breakfast, you know, I'm like taking a sausage on the fork and I bring it to my mouth, and I'm like, where the hell did it go? You know, like it just disappeared somewhere in the hair. So I had to shave it off because I was starving. Looks pathetic. Absolutely, absolutely. Makes me feel 1 million years older. Makes me feel like a Stegosaurus. Will it take the death of Supreme Orc Putler to end the war? Rather yes than no, alright? Rather yes than no. Check out the recent video update on Silicon Curtain channel. There is a very good episode where Kremlin sociologist actually explains that the phobia number one, alright, in Kremlin is the uprising. The reason why you can see hundreds of thousands of cops, National Guardsmen, so-called National Guardsmen in Russia, is not because they care, for the law and order so much. They don't. They care about repressing the people who, not even those who don't like the regime, those who even have enough courage to talk about it, all right? They have specific services designed to repress those people in the world's most democratic and most conservative white country of Russian Federation. So they are afraid of uprising, and that's currently the big concern in Kremlin, because there's a lot of people in the Russian elites, the people surrounding Putin, who don't support the war, because they see that their fucking country is collapsing, their economy will take decades to revive after what Putler and the generals actually did to the terrorist federation. So there is a chance that if Putin is removed, then the war will end. However, there are rumors. Again, I don't really like to spread, rumors that are unconfirmed. Sometimes I do, just to keep in mind. But Rosgvardia is there to keep Russians at bay. Yeah, absolutely. So what I've heard, all right, somewhere in the depth of the Runet, which caused me to literally curl up and cry alone in the bed for 2 hours. But I encountered rumors that Putin is actually looking for a way to prolong his life. All right, like he does all those like Botox operations, surgeries, right, to look younger. He does all sorts of strange medicine, to prolong his life and everything else. I'm not sure if it's like the kind of rumors that we could hear in like 2022 when all the media were talking about Putin having cancer, having some African curse, Ebola virus and everything else. But that is something I actually see happening, all right? Like Putin literally looking for some kind of magical pill that will prolong his life. He got a nipple lift. Putin goes to a clinic and he's like, I need a lift. And the surgeon is like, I don't know what else I can do for you, my dear Tsar. Like, I have no idea. He's like, I fucking need a lift. And the doctor is like, well, all right, I will do my best, all right, but I don't guarantee good result. Putin wakes up after surgery, looks in the mirror and is like, looks good, but why do I have a cork on my throat hanging? The doctor is like, dear Tsar, you can tell everyone that it's a tie. They will believe. I would give him a ball lift with my foot. A lot of people would, my friends. Putin has already started getting rid of people who he thinks might challenge his terrorist regime. He did, because when you look at, again, Prigozhin, Strelkov, Kadyrov, when you look at Kadyrov, you realize that the dude is sick, literally. One reason can be, of course, that beautiful Ukrainian National Guardsman's car brought from Chernobyl, but another reason could be that actually he could be poisoned. Absolutely. Is it time for food talks? Yeah, it's always time for food talks, my friend. When sanctioned Ivan heard about longevity treatment and living to 150, he was like, oh God, please no, I don't want Putin to remain my president. Yeah, that is so crazy, guys. Imagine you are born while he's ruling. You grow up, you finish school while he's still fucking ruling. You marry, you have kids while he's still ruling. You go to war, you get immobilized, you go to war, you die while he's still ruling. How fucked up is that? And that's something that Tucker Carlson admires so much. Strong government, strong hands should be there to rule us. Motherfucker. I'm eating leftover pizza for breakfast. I literally have nothing. I have like coffee. I will literally go to a store after the stream. I need to buy some. I need to buy some food. All right. I actually promised my lady that I will not have a long stream today. I hope she's not too mad, because I promised that we will go to the grocery store, buy some sort of vareniki or pirogi, depending on where we go. We will buy some shmetana, the sour cream. We will get some fruits, yogurt. We will actually make... Guys, one thing you should know. There was a period of my life when I was fat, all right? When I was fat for real. And I could barely fit in my uniform at some point. And the reason I was fat was because, well, okay, chubby, all right? Chunky, just a bit. Not like extremely, like chunky, all right? Was because at some point I got addicted to creams and sour cream mixed with fruits and plenty of sugar, but generally sour cream. It's like you buy a bunch of different fruits, berries, you mix them, you drop them in this like huge plate of either yogurt or whipped cream. And whipped cream, I think that was the biggest reason. And I started just expanding eventually. I noticed that it's getting harder to run. It's getting harder to like work out, all right? Because besides lifting like a dumbbell with like, I don't know, 20 kilograms, I add 5 more kilograms on my body, all right? Like all the fat on my arm. And I started expanding. So I blame the whipped cream, all right? Which is something good. Like in my case, it's good because I always wanted to be like chubby. I'm a thin person. I'm an ectomorph. That's why it's very hard for me to gain weight. Then at some point I'm like, holy shit, what's that? Was unexpected. Is bread made with buckwheat the best bread? I tried the buckwheat bread and I actually like it a bit. I believe that there is a buckwheat bread served in the German military ration. I might be wrong. To me it tasted like buckwheat bread actually. The bread in the tin cans. Dear German friends, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the case. The buckwheat bread in the German MREs. Please let me know who knows, alright? Vareniki with butter and soy sauce. That sounds Chinese. Sounds Chinese so bad. Are we celebrating November? As you can see, my friend, I think we really do. The whipped cream blames you. I blame the whipped cream, all right, for all the cellulite on my rear. But as you can see, it's gone. Like as soon as the Russian invasion of Ukraine started, I lost 10 kilograms immediately and I couldn't gain it back afterwards. Clotted cream is irresistible. I agree. I'm the same. My metabolism is crazy fast. It will process anything. Yes, my friend. And that is, on one hand, that is something we enjoy, all right, as ectomorphs, because we can eat literally anything. Cakes, pasties, whatever. Everything will get processed. Everything is getting burnt like in the oven immediately. But gaining weight, it's a problem. And in my case, for example, I either have to eat like that stuff, like the whipped cream with sweet fruits, all right? A lot of them, like on a daily basis. And then it might work. Or I have to work out a lot. And if I do, I kind of grow. Like it's the only way that keeps me heavier than 75, let's say. Chocolate. I might have some chocolate today as well. Milka chocolate is so like milk chocolate generally. I love it. I freaking do. I don't eat it often, but I just love it. Falafel wrap with sour cream. So yesterday I made a bunch of French fries with falafel and beef burger. All right, it was just so nice. Oh my god. And it was actually vegan falafel. Not the biggest fan of vegan stuff, but yeah. I'm 85. What's your height? Because I'm like 175/75 kilograms. So if you're like 185, then you're not really even really skinny, all right? Belgian fries, yeah. Like I really wanted to fix myself because that's actually Belgian fries. They were designed in Belgium. Why are they called French fries? I don't know, my dear French friends. I'm so sorry, but they are actually Belgian, all right? Cheburek. Let's talk about cheburek. I love chebureks. I don't know where to find. 195, Adam. Then yeah. Then according to the body index, yeah, we are in the same club. Cheburek, I will show this to you. We have them in Ukraine a lot, and we also have them in the restaurants of. Wait, Che. We have them in the restaurants of Tatar cuisine, right? So This is the cheburek. All right. It's like Eastern Asian, Caucasian, Tatar kind of food. All right. You have meat in this kind of pasty. The dough itself is kind of crunchy. You know, it's very, very good, especially when they're hot. I love it. For ectomorph, it's better to eat spaghetti on daily basis to gain weight. My friend, I tried. I love spaghetti. I don't even eat spaghetti because I want to gain weight. I just eat spaghetti all the time. Doesn't work. There was a time when I had a bet with my friends that I will be eating spaghetti every single day for lunch, breakfast, and dinner, and I won because I ate spaghetti with fish, with meat, spaghetti with spaghetti, spaghetti with cheese, and it was the best month of my life. I enjoyed it. Do you like guacamole? So I tried guacamole back in Kiev in 2023 with Johnny FD. He cooked nachos. I tried nachos for the first time in my life, as well as guacamole. Yeah, I love it. It's good. At the beginning of the full-scale invasion, I remember seeing Ukrainian packing jars of lettuce wraps in a delicious-looking pink sauce. You just grab one and enjoy. Yeah, this stuff looks extremely good. I am not the biggest fan of it, but it tastes really well. All of my friends enjoy it so bad. Just, they love it. Looks like samsa, but taste is totally different. I agree. It only looks like we call it samsa. It only looks like it. Samsa, the proper one, or at least the one that I tried, right? The dough is a bit different. It's a bit thicker, and inside you have like chopped meat that is usually roasted on fire, so it smells like smoke, you know. That is the samsa, but this stuff, the meat is grinded. It's rather like something like kebab, all right, inside the very meat. Not doner, but the ground meat. In this one, that's like farsh. And the dough must be very, very thin. My last cheburek, I think I had it in Chasiv Yar, actually. I had it in Chasiv Yar with Max. There was a restaurant. We went there on our way back, and we had like 2 huge chebureks. I recommend protein drinks with every meal for weight gain without fat. I take protein shakes every time after the workout, of course. But what's the problem? The problem is the body is burning more calories than... The body is burning basically more calories than is needed, all right? So in order to prevent this from happening, if you really, really want to gain weight, you need to consume more calories than your body is able to burn. And for that, you have, besides proteins, you have gainers. So what they do, they make those gainer cocktails. They contain proteins, but they also contain a lot of other additives that contain a lot of calories, like short calories, so-called, short calories, simple carbs and complex carbs, because you need them both. And those are good because your body is busy burning carbs while proteins are being consumed as well. So if you only consume proteins, that's good if you're not ectomorph, all right? It's good if you want clean muscle mass, or if you actually have problems with losing weight. Then you gotta drink proteins, because proteins are not carbs. All right, you will not be you will not gain weight from drinking plenty of proteins. So if you want to gain weight, you need to drink gainers, and they are actually good. They're like gainers with like 5,000 kilocalories like in each spoon. Like you eat it, your cheeks grow immediately. You like grow while sitting, because like the cellulite starts accumulating on the ass like while you're there. All right. So that stuff is good. It helped me actually. Yeah, we will understand that. Yeah, absolutely. When you need a break, say goodbye to muscle. 100%. That's the curse of being ectomorph. All right. We enjoy food, but we are very sad usually, because we don't have like big body mass. Like we dream about it, but we just can't have it. So that's the curse of being an ectomorph. Gainers usually have a lot of sugar. Yeah, it depends on the type of on the manufacturer, because like some gainers are very low quality. They just drop plenty of sugar there, and there you have it, diabetes. The other gainers contain a lot of complex carbs, so those are valuable. And complex carbs are like grains, basically everything that doesn't contain sugar. All right. Let me rephrase this. Sugar is the carb, but sugar is fast carb. Your body just consumes it instantly. Complex carbs require time to be consumed, so your body has more energy, right, coming from those carbs, but it requires time, and they are good. So you need proteins, and you need mostly complex carbs. Ectomorphs don't really care about fast carbs, because again, they just burn. They burn instantly. But that is something that makes us happier. I went from 45 kilograms at 180 centimeters after being ill to 68 kilograms with protein drinks. So I believe that you gain the muscle mass as well, not only muscle mass, but actually I've heard that. There was a YouTuber back in my days, her name was Body Rock, all right? And she was showing different exercises to lose weight, all right, to get into better shape. And she showed all sorts of exercise you can do at home, you know, with the stuff surrounding you. So one thing, she looked good, all right, she was in a good shape. And then when she weighed herself, she said, surprisingly, instead of losing mass, I actually gained mass. Yeah, but it's not the fat mass, that's actually muscle mass. So she didn't look overweight, but she still gained mass. And the reason for that is muscle mass is actually heavier than fat, all right? Is actually bigger than the mass of fat. The muscles are more dense, and they are heavier than the fat. So maybe that's another reason. Summer Fun Fitness is great for calisthenics videos, but prepare to be humbled by a girl. Some of them can humble you just so well, my friend. For example, again, Body Rock. Her videos are amazing, absolutely. And I don't know if she still has her channel, but back in the days, like decades ago on YouTube, she was extremely popular. muscle weighs less but takes up less space. Yes, that's the case. That's the unfortunate fact, all right? Because all the ectomorphs, like we sleep and we dream about, you know, having like huge fucking shoulders and wrists and like, look at this shit. What kind of wrist is that? Oh my god. However, one inspiring fact is that Arnold Schwarzenegger was an ectomorph himself. And by the way, if you look at his wrists, you can easily confirm this fact. I worked out in the hospital gym, but not fanatic about it. So, there is a tiny secret about working out. Hello, howdy. We're just enjoying the chat about food and working out and everything else. One interesting fact about working out is that you don't need to work out every day, all right? You need to work out a lot only if you want to lose weight. If you're not fanatic about it, and if you work out like twice a week, then you will gain muscle weight, because this is how it works. And people that go to gym every single day, like they often notice that they don't have like that much of a result, as much as other people who just, you know, relax in the gym, all right, like once or twice a week. This is how it works. For example, you can do one day the upper body, the second day the leg day, all right? And that will be completely enough to gain muscle weight. Twice a week, 3 times at most, I don't know. So that is something that I observed, and that is something that actually helped me as well. I don't work out these days for one simple reason. I have this superstition that was confirmed several times, that as soon as I start getting ripped, the war starts, all right? I had it multiple times in my life, so I don't do that, all right, to save you, my friends, especially here in Germany. But that is something that actually helped me, like 2 times a week, 3 times at most. That's enough. You're not fanatic about it. You just do it twice a week and you're actually gaining the muscle mass. That's in case this is your goal, to gain the muscle mass. Because besides that, we would actually, in the army, we would work out a lot, because we did boxing, we did kickboxing, all that goodness. We even had a knife fight. It was a very interesting experience. I had to throw away a pair of unlucky short ones. Yeah, sometimes it helps. Sometimes it helps, like on the level of subconsciousness, by the way. The Dylan's documentary on Pokrovsk, I haven't, my friend, but I will just add it real quick in the list, because it is definitely worth watching. Dylan, no, not Bob Dylan, Dylan Burns. All right. Yeah, I will make sure to watch it when I have time today. I remember your boxing video. The one with the buzz, with my friends. Oh yeah, I cannot forget it. What a great lazy Saturday I'm having. Washing on the line, pasta soon, F1 and footy later. Starsky in the background giving me giggles. Yeah, Jamie. We enjoy Saturday as well. I enjoy burning Russian factories and good coffee. Amazing company. 300 people watching. That's a battalion, basically. It's so good. And soon after that, as soon as the stream is finished, I will also enjoy pierogi. Pierogi po polsku. Do you think we can get fit following the Russian martial arts of slapping? You will not get really fit, but you will get slapped a lot. Obviously. You can try the chharek, because no, actually don't, because chharek, the dude with the handgun, that dude. It requires to be actually addicted to alcohol when you do that, all right? You cannot do that while sober, but if you drink a lot and not necessarily like proper beverage, but something like a toilet cleaning liquid, for example, then you can try doing that. But you don't work out while drinking, all right? That's the rule. Because, you know, hard and stuff. What's that tattoo about? Which one? This one? That's when I got discharged and I had to give out my weapons. And I'm not the biggest fan of handguns, by the way. I would always prefer a rifle over the handgun. That tattoo says that I don't have a weapon anymore, but I'm always armed. Grow a top knot and the Cossacks will have nightmares. Oh yeah, I thought about it, but I like my hair doesn't really grow here well, so my top knot will suck. I will be like bald Cossack. They existed as well. So the top knot, you probably know that. Let me show this to you. All right, Chebrex, get out of here. Kozatstvo. So just a tiny travel, all right, into the history of Ukrainian Cossacks. You can see those guys on the horses. You can see them with like sabers, topless, for reasons that did not exist because there were no topless Cossacks, all right? All that you can see, like topless Cossacks with sabers and everything else, that's just a folklore, because on the background you can see Cossacks actually properly wearing proper clothes, all right? So they look like the guys behind them. They would never look like the guys you can see on the picture. But on the picture you can also see Cossacks with this very typical sort of haircut, all right, the top knot. And the reason they had that was very, very easily explained. So that sort of haircut you could see, for example, in the Turk, Tatar nations in that part of the world as well. And there are different explanations about the spiritual nature of like shaving the head and leaving the top knot. There are all sorts of explanations, but the very reason is very, very simple. It's because, guys, we're talking about medieval times where there were a lot of parasites, all right? There were fleas, there was lice and things like that. And that was the easiest way to keep them away, all right? To treat all that, to preserve your hygiene in the army. So sometimes they would shave their heads like that, sometimes they would shave completely, and basically deal with those threats, okay? So in most cases, again, if you search for Ukrainian Cossacks, you may find, like, have you seen the Xena, the warrior princess, all right, wearing leather or sorts of bracelets and yada yada. That never happened, all right. The Amazon warriors never had those BDSM clothes. And if you search for Cossacks, sometimes you can also see that. For example, Hortytsa. For example, in Ukraine, in the area of Zaporizhia, we have this Cossack siege, all right? And if you visit Cossack siege, most probably you will also encounter those guys, all right? Those muscled men. Is that... Looks like President Zelensky, actually. So, muscled man, topless, with like those things on their arms and things like... They didn't exist. Okay. This thing didn't exist. Let me remove my ugly face. This thing didn't exist because when you're wearing the chainmail, you always, my friends, always wear something underneath, and not just a shirt. We're talking something freaking thick. In the medieval times, right? I need to explain this one. In the medieval times, they had the primary weapon was this thick layered clothes. They would make like armor literally from layers of clothes. You stick like 10 of them together, it won't get cut through. Like, you can try, all right? So they would wear thick clothes, layered, 10, 15 layers of clothes, of fabric. And on top of that, they would wear the chainmail. The reason this gentleman is not wearing that thick armor underneath is because it will make him like feel very, very hot, because as you can see, it's summertime, it's freaking hot outside, right? But if you're watching historical movies, all right, or movies based on historical things, and you can see the knights wearing chainmail on their head without anything underneath, that's bullshit, all right? It never happened like that. They would always wear the hat made from thick layers of fabric, and then they wear something underneath the chainmail, the thick armor made out of fabric, all right? And then they would wear everything else. So, returning to those guys, this thing didn't exist, all right? And this thing didn't exist too. This is the folklore. If you want to know how the real, like what the real Cossacks look like, this is what they looked like. They didn't have those enormous pants, all right, the sharavare. They never had like those huge pants where you can fit 5 other people and their horses. No, they had just proper pants. And basically they looked like this, all right? Historically accurate Ukrainian Cossacks looked like that. Everything else, Характерник Cossacks, Cossack wizards, all that stuff. Like here, for example, the famous drawing where Ukrainian Cossacks are writing the cringy letter to the Turkish Sultan. That's a completely different story. That's the way they looked like, all right? The dude wearing no shirt, like he doesn't care. Like, yeah, it's hot, he decided to take it off. Yeah, but generally all the other guys, you can see no leather, no BDSM, no crazy Ukrainian Charakternik Cossacks turning into wolves and flying to, you know, Islamabad. No, that didn't happen. The Cossacks were just like infantry, mostly infantry, by the way, because they used horses, of course, but generally they were like infantry, all right? what else? Cossacks, even though they are often portrayed with sabers, but according to the excavations that were done throughout Europe, all right, finding the remains of Cossacks, according to all the historically accurate sources, Cossacks would prefer a musket to a saber. There was an excavation in the Zhovty Vody, in the Yellow Waters, for example, where Bogdan Khmelnytsky had a fight against the Polish army. They found hundreds, all right? They found hundreds of muskets used by Cossacks, but they found just a few sabers, because Cossacks would value the firearms. They, if you take a look at the symbol, for example, of Zaporizhian Cossacks, you can see that that's a guy holding a musket and a saber by his side. But the Cossacks would prefer muskets. They were the modern infantry. They understood that this stuff actually makes difference, and that is why they would go into the battle as like line infantry, basically. All right, so they would rather prefer to fight with muskets than fighting with sabers. That's just some historical information for you. So, of course, nowadays, with all the development of folklore and everything else, there are people in Ukraine who would kill me for this information, because they make money from that, all right? They make money from old ancient Cossack martial arts, for example, which that never all right, guys, that stuff is made up, all right, because we also have those guys. There are some guys that actually say that the Hopak dance is actually martial art. No. When you are marching in the line of troops, all right, with muskets, and then you kind of aim and shoot, all right, like you don't really have opportunity to do all sorts of martial arts, dance, Hopak, no. And if you look at those guys, all right, at the paintings, the way they really looked like, all right, like these guys. On this guy, you can see plenty of different bags, like they have sabers, all right, but generally they have plenty of different bags, the horn with powder, and other stuff with powder, all right, a bunch of things designed to shoot your musket, all right. Imagine doing kung fu wearing all that. And by the way, 16th, 17th, 18th century, that was a period of a mini ice age in Europe. The temperature in European part of the world was around 16 degrees in summer. So it was freaking cold. And imagine wearing all this goodness, all right, holding a musket, a saber, all this stuff on you, all right? All this stuff, the powder, the bullets, all sorts of things, your hygiene, whatever. And imagine doing kung fu with that. So, historically, Ukrainian Cossacks were professional European infantry, all right? Using firearms mostly. That's the explanation. Everything else is basically a folklore, all right? I could be biased as a Ukrainian, right? I could be biased. I could say, shit, we have so much stuff. We have like Cossacks who would dance topless and turn into werewolves and, magically throw cellulite on the ass of Sultan's wife and do all sorts of magic things, and they knew shit. They would just fly into the ranks of the Russian army with two sabers and do all sorts of magic, kick them with Hopak and everything else. But the fact is, I prefer like historical accuracy, all right? So I admit they were really cool, right? But some things were just sometimes some things were just made up, right, through folklore, which is again really, really cool, because if you study all that, you understand that Ukrainian folklore can actually tell you a lot about history, about, you know, the way your culture developed, and things like that. Like, I shit you not, there are actually people in Ukraine who want to kill me for that. There are like Ukrainian historians, right? People who study the history from accurate sources. And then there are also guys who go and meditate in the fields. In the beautiful, it actually looks like this, all right? Like blue sky, yellow field of buckwheat. They meditate wearing like those huge sharavari, discovering, you know, opening chakras and everything else, which is, again, it's not bad. It's good if it works for them, if it attracts people to Ukraine. Like, why not? All right. It's not like I'm shitting on them. I'm just saying that that stuff is not really historically accurate. This stuff is. So that's all. And because you need to know more about Ukrainians, right? Like in Ukrainian circles, they literally, they just fight against each other. They say, you are Moscows, you are Russian spies for saying that, all right? That Ukrainians didn't wear those big pants. Those guys say, no, you are Russian spies because the world is looking at you and say that you're fucking ridiculous. And they like, you know, that's Ukrainian people, and this is what we are, and this is what I absolutely enjoy, all right? This is something that makes us people, like everybody else. Tsarist Cossacks weren't very nice. So, Tsar didn't have Cossacks. Tsar had Kazaki. And Kazaki, I explained in some of my episodes on the UATV, what is the Cossack of a healthy man and what is Kazakh of a smoker. So Kazakh is a Russian copy-paste of Ukrainian Cossacks because they didn't have anything good to be proud of, all right? So basically they snatched this from our culture and they developed their own Kazaki. Kazaki is like, it's such a stinking pile of shit that I don't even want to touch it again, all right? So yeah, fiction can be inspiring, 100% agree on that. Even the biggest European broadswords only weighed about 3 kilograms. That's fact. I believe some of them weighed like 5 kilograms. But generally they didn't weigh like 20 because they were thin. You had to operate them somehow. All right, you had to operate them somehow. So they were a light weapon. Yeah, despite being big, but they were a light weapon. For example, you could see German Landsknecht, all right, with those freaking Zweihanders. They were actually light, all right? They were light enough. They were very handy. Wait a second. Let's talk about Landsknecht, all right? Landsknecht. Okay. So here you have those guys. So first of all, they were hipsters, all right? They liked to wear exquisite things, all right? Because they like to show off a lot. That is why they were wearing all sorts of stuff like this thing, all right, to attract attention. That actually works, all right. This sword is very, very typical for the Landsknecht, all right, like this shape. And speaking of the larger swords, I miss Lindy Page here, my friends. Hell, if you have any contact, all right, with Lindy Page, please let me know. I know that Brandon knows, but Brandon is busy. I don't want to, distract him. He would tell more about those. So these things that are like 1.5 meters long, maybe more. In fact, they were not that heavy. They were heavier considering to, I don't know, comparing to the bastard swords even. But they were quite light. And there are, you see like those two circles, all right? Those two circles here, and also this part of the sword that is not sharpened. So it was used specifically to grab the sword with two hands, either drive it like a freaking chainsaw through somebody's shield, break armor and things like, or at least attempt to do that. Not really for trying to catch the blade of your enemy, right? So they were like those things they had specifically for the convenience of using this sword. So that one is actually interesting. The very idea of killing somebody wearing like plate armor with a sword, I don't know. Like, it's kind of hard. Like, take a knife and try to punch through a car, alright? Well, depending on the car, of course, but yeah, but generally, considering that all that plate armor was several millimeters thick, wouldn't bend easily. It was really, really hard to actually kill a knight wearing all that stuff. So what they did, they would use things like hammers, they would use things like picks, war picks, and that would help, all right? That would deform the armor enough so the knight wearing the armor would have hard time moving, suffocate, or something like that. But generally, when you see, again, historical movies where the guys just slash their swords and just, push through his enemy's armor and things like that, didn't happen. Like, you cannot just punch someone through, all right, with the sword, with, thrust someone with the sword if this person is wearing full armor, like the plate armor. It's literally impossible. So maces were good, by the way, like Cossacks were using. We were using plenty of maces. Mace was a symbol of power in the Cossack army. The hetman would carry a mace, all right, as a symbol. And we would use maces. We would use things like... I don't know if Cossacks used much picks. Maces we did. That's 100%. Maybe they could use some kind of picks, some kind of war picks, war hammers. Yeah, tiny ones. Axes, I didn't really see Ukrainians using at all. Like the Nord people, all right, like the Scandinavians, they would use like those Viking swords. Yeah, those were good. But again, when you look at real swords used by axes used by Vikings, they're actually not that big. All right. Sorry. Historically accurate Viking axe. All right, like when you look at them, they don't look huge. The Vikings used things like that. All right, why they were not that big? Why they were not that big as in the fantasy stories and stuff? Because they're not supposed to weigh like I don't know, like a pickup truck, they are supposed to be heavy enough to punch through the armor, but also light enough to be able to operate this stuff, all right? That is why when you look at the historically accurate Viking axes, they're like this. They're not like those big things, all right? They're like that. They are small enough, all right? I've collected ancient axes for 40 years. Oh my god. That's so cool. War is so scary. It really is, Tamara. There's absolutely nothing beautiful about war. The only people who love war, there's like several kinds of them. There's either people who never saw it. There are people who like computer games and again never saw it. And there's actually a tiny percentage of people that were actually born for it, because looking at our recon guys, for example, in my brigade, those guys were born for this stuff. They enjoy it, all right? They enjoy the war. They enjoy going into battle, returning, covered in the Russian blood, and then just open laptop and play Stalker, for example. They really do that. Like, they don't care. But not a lot of us are born like that. Were there Cossack sports? In fact, they were. In fact, there were. And I knew about it. But unfortunately, because I'm not an expert specifically in Kazakh sports, I cannot tell you. Horseback duels with long spears, I don't see that happening. That's very typical for Western Europe. But Cossacks had other things, all right? Like walk through a... there's a rope hanging between trees, for example, all right? And you gotta get from one tree to another tree or things like that. There were like fist fights between Cossacks, that's for sure. They loved that stuff, all right? Wall against the wall. They had that's basically like modern football hooligans. Two walls of people, they just smash into each other, just beating the living crap out of each other. We had things like that. Carrying big things, something like, but I need to study this one more, my friend. Unfortunately, you asked the wrong person. I'm not really acquainted with specifically the sports the Cossacks had. I know about the fist fights because, like, I'm acquainted with this stuff as well. What about the horse game from Rambo 3? So, in the Rambo 3, you could observe the horse game called Buskashi. What is this game? It's a game that is very cruel and is typical for Afghani people specifically. It actually exists, all right? Afghani actually play this one. And one time on Facebook, I had a friend from Afghanistan who actually added me for no reason. And actually, he had a mustache just like me. So, Buskashi is when they decapitate a goat, and it's actually like a horse race. You gotta go as fast as possible, pick up the goat, bring it to some specific circle, throw it into the circle, and then you win. All right. So that one is kind of brutal. All right. It wasn't a Cossack game, of course, but it was very brutal. Don't forget, before you end your stream, you're going to have pierogi, then you're required to speak some Polish. That's the rule. Naprawdę kocham pierogi. Kocham pierogi. Kochałem pierogi zawsze. Pierogi albo wareniki, ok, jak my Jak oni się nazywają w Ukrainie wareniki albo pirogi, to jest zajebiście po prostu, tak? I kocham pirogi z wiśnią, kocham pirogi z jabłką, kocham pirogi z mięsem, tak? So I really hope I pass the test. Dobrze kocham, bardzo dobrze kocham. Nie mogę żyć bez pirogów. Originally, the goat started out alive. Ah, shit, really? Oh, I didn't know about that one, actually. Yeah, that is extremely brutal. Oh my god. Mongolian pole is basically the same, but they use the head of an enemy. Oh my god. Whew! Those Mongols. They always the coolest episode of the South Park is when this Chinese gentleman is building the Chinese wall and Mongols often attack it, you know, and you get a B plus today. Come on, why B? A minus at least. Okay, A2 minuses, I agree on that. Don't think Peter would like that goat game. Absolutely. Like, that stuff is brutal, seriously. You can have, I don't know, an artificial goat, all right? Nobody dies, besides players. The Cossacks got their hairstyle from Mongols. I think the Mongols had their hairstyles for the very same reasons the Cossacks had, all right? I suspect. So, yeah, dang Mongolians. Yeah, like in Kiev, for example, year 1024, all right? They came, they destroyed like half of Kiev. For what? Like, for what? What was the point? The Chinese wall, same stuff. Japan. Those Mongols. Do you know that Cossack means free man if you go down the etymology? Yes, I think it means free man either in Turkish or in Tatar. It really does. It means a free man. Cossacks are free people, like Ukrainians, right? That's in our blood. We love freedom. That is why we don't respect authorities so much, which is our curse, actually. The Mongolians are not the current Mongolian people. They were speaking Turk language, probably modern Turkey. Yeah, maybe. I don't know much about them because, again, they're like half a world away. But they visited Kiev, yes, in the 11th century, and we didn't like it much. All right, it was bad. Everyone should learn from the Mongolian tactics. I believe in after the World War III, when humankind will only have like horses and stones, I believe that will be handy, because that's where we're going to, right? That's where we're heading to, unfortunately. Thanks for the stream. Thank you so much, my friends. Always welcome. Always happy to see you. So, zobaczymy się w poniedziałek. Every officer should study history. Absolutely, Hooves. Adam, do widzenia. And be safe, all right? Whew. All right, guys. Guys. The fucking fly is fucking harassing me for like since yesterday. The fuck. All right, my dear friends. I will be finishing this stream because I feel literally like boiled. It's 3 hours 30 minutes, and I think that you feel boiled as well. So the real Vladimir Putin. I'm sorry, we are already like wrapping up. All right. So. Like, yeah, it's when you want to say guys and friends at the same time, because I don't control my vocabulary anymore after 3 hours. My dear friends, we will see you later, and be safe, of course. Much love to beautiful Australia and all other countries watching us at this point. Thank you so much for watching this stream. Thank you for supporting Ukraine big time. Big thanks to all the members of my channel. Big thanks to all the moderators. And we'll see you later. Maybe tonight, all right? If I don't experience any other emergencies, maybe we will have tonight's stream as well. I think I have to do that because there's a lot of people watching us on the other side of the globe, and I feel that I'm in debt, all right? So I need to stream in the evening as well, and I will do that. And by the way, just a small announcement, I think I will change the concept of my Only Facts video since tomorrow or maybe next week, because there's people who watch my streams. There's also people watching my channel literally for the news updates. So Only Facts will be based on my streams. I will just compile all the most recent updates into short videos, not longer than 3, maybe 5 minutes. And I will be posting them in the Only Facts section. So they will be available for you if you accidentally missed this stream and you want to learn more information. You want to know like literally what happened, you can just watch the shorter videos, all right? And then on the streams we will have opportunity to communicate, answer questions and things like that, talk about food, roast Russians, roast all sorts of degenerates and everything else. What's happening in Pokrovsk, we already talked about that. The Russians slowed down their advances there because they're trying to keep their losses lower, because apparently they don't have enough men to continue attacking all the time, and also they're expecting reinforcements. So that's short information for you. So that's basically the thing. I will be streaming in the morning and in the evening according to the German time. And also I will be making those news compilations for you in the Only Facts section. I hope that that will be handy. All right, with that, my dear friends, I will be shutting down the stream and running straight to the Polish store, all right, Polski sklep, because I'm freaking starving. See you later, and bye-bye.